you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it!
On 93.5
Watch it!
and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
Eddie Wusu will inbound. Eddie Wusu, full court pressure. He gets it in. It comes to Pinzone. Pinzone brings it down the floor in a hurry. Fires it up to Champagne. He struggles down to 2. Fires it up there. Missed it. Rebound. Fought for. And Indiana wins it. Hoosiers win. Final score. 76-74. Indiana victorious. They beat the St. John's Red Storm in a thriller here tonight at Simon Scott Assembly Hall.
Well, I say we end with this. You guys can follow me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hold on. We will rock you.
Kev, that's not really close, right? I think we found a new show open in a good Thursday morning. Kevin Aquari, Kevin Bowen, Jake Query. The iconic voice of Don Fisher, followed by the iconic song of Queen. I don't know if we will hear a Jim Irsay cover of We Will Rock You on a grand stage anytime soon.
Hold on. Okay, hang on. It's 7 a.m., right?
7:01, but yes.
So I'm not necessarily, I don't wake up till 9:30. But I know this much. You ready? I mean, Shea Stadium was able to figure that out in '86 during the World Series.
Well, I say we end with this. You guys can follow me.
I wish you could see the faces in the background.
Hold on. We will rock you.
Where are the second and third beats there? Mark,
overrated beats. Very overrated
I mean,
beats.
at first, you don't know where he's going with that, right? That is the most symbolic. If you could symbolize one's entire mantra in music, that does it right there, right? In the fact that, you don't really know where that's going.
You don't. Someone from the Colts told me yesterday, wait till you see the Irsay locker room scene. And that was from Hard Knocks last night following the win over San Francisco, I believe. And, Mark, will you retweet McAfee's actual video of it? I wish you could see the players' reactions in the background because, Jake, like you said, when he starts, I'm thinking, for some reason, what was fresh in my mind was, I don't know if you've been to a Vikings game, but you've certainly heard the chant, the Vikings skull chant.
Correct.
On third down.
Right.
It's got a very just rhythm, easy clapping beat that just 60,000 people can join in. And then when he's telling them to, wait a minute, and he goes into We Will Rock You. Well, I have not laughed that hard at 10:30 p.m. on my couch, maybe in 32 years.
This is what it sounded like, okay? It sounded like this. Follow me here, follow me. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I mean, what?
There's Bill Pullian and Gary Brackett on the Jumbotron.
You missed a couple of beats there, right?
Oh, man. One of a kind right there. That was Jim Irsay from Hard Knocks last night. We'll get into that. I know a lot of you had issues. I had issue streaming it via HBO Max. Finally, after about 20 minutes, was able to dial it up, and I kind of did a very unstructured poll last night on Twitter of what Colts fans thought. I thought the overwhelming majority enjoyed it, so we'll certainly get into Hard Knocks. And as always, Steve Trout is going to join us each week. That'll be next Wednesday. He'll be back with us, so we'll get his thoughts on this first episode, which featured a whole lot of Carson Wentz and Darius Leonard, along with Jim Irsay's Queen cover, which is something that will live in infamy for me. Good win for Indiana. I think certainly, Jake, when we talk about the non-conference schedule not having a lot of marquee games, I know a home game won't necessarily be something the selection committee talks about endlessly in March, but they being in that environment again, you see what Assembly Hall can do for you from a home crowd standpoint. And I thought, credit St. John's, they punched a whole lot in the second half, and IU punched back every single time.
Here's the thing. Indiana last night won that game. And you're right. I mean, is St. John's in March, is this going to be one where it's like, hey, good wins, beat number 12 now, St. John's? I don't know. I mean, I think St. John's is probably a top third Big East team projected, but it was a win for Indiana that was relatively symbolic because I think it showed the blueprint of how Indiana's going to win a lot of games. And by that, I mean they got really good play from Trace Jackson-Davis. They got key athleticism at times when they needed it from Geronimo and Thompson.
Oh, Geronimo was huge.
And they got good guard play out of Tamar Bates. Now, they did not shoot the ball well from the free throw line, and that could be a bugaboo for them. But defensively, when necessary, they made the plays they needed to make. And that's the big key for them.
It's funny. I think you and I were both surprised at the over-under of 150.
Yeah.
How about the final score? 76-74, exactly at 150. I don't know how you felt, Jake, but watching that game, to me, it felt like a very competitive 8-9 matchup.
Oh, totally agree.
In the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it was a great environment, right?
Great environment.
It was a great environment.
And again, Assembly Hall gives you, 5-10 points.
That was the kind of game that when I say young Indiana team, I realize Trace Jackson-Davis is not a young player. Race Thompson's not a young player.
Inexperienced in those moments, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
And inexperienced with, new coach, new atmosphere, new just kind of MO in general. That's what Indiana needed. Now, on the other side of things, not a good showing for Butler and certainly for the Pacers. That I think the story with the Pacers right now, if I'm the brass of the Pacers, my concern is not even, because I do think that they have shown signs that they've got some pieces and of course Rick Carlisle feeling everything out. But Kevin, the Pacers are in danger of losing, if they haven't already, kind of losing the city of people just checking out like, you know what? Come find me in March when basketball season, when I'm interested. I think there is a level of apathy about this roster that is dangerous for Indiana.
Yeah, when you have an attendance issue and you're about to have 10 of 12 at home and you just have back-to-back games where you don't score 90 points, like, you know how easy it is to score 90 points in today's NBA? Well, especially
when they've had games where they've scored 130.
Right.
What in the world?
Like last year, they scored at least 90 points in every game but one. And now they haven't scored 90 in back-to-back games. I think the biggest, and really just, it's sad to hear Rick Carlisle after the game last night say this, Jake. He was asked about like the ball movement at one point, and he kind of paused. Honestly, it might have been Scott Agnes. We'll ask Scott when he joins us here in the 8 o'clock hour. But he's asked about the ball movement, something like that. And he kind of stops the question. He goes, yeah, I don't really want to talk about the offense or the ball movement issue. We have a hard playing issue. And I'm thinking to myself, you are not talented enough as a team, not healthy enough as a team to have a hard playing issue the night after you just blew a game in New York.
Right.
Like again, it goes back to what I've talked. Like a non-starter for this basketball team should be that. Like I don't even get how that is a thought, especially when this is a team that's supposed to have all these high character guys and this and that. They love basketball.
Okay, let me say this. I'm a cynic. I've told you that, right? Name a sports franchise off the top of your head. Either NFL or NBA, doesn't matter, right? Anybody.
Is that Sacramento Kings you're wearing, or Kansas City Kings?
Kansas City Kings. So we'll go with the Sacramento Kings.
Sure.
I will virtually guarantee you that if we pulled air checks, for those who don't know, meaning audio clips from a radio show. If we pulled air checks from a Sacramento radio show, I will guarantee you that some member of the Sacramento Kings and multiple members of radio teams in Sacramento, when talking about the Kings, say, well, the one thing is they do count character. These are character guys. Every franchise preaches that. Every one of them does.
I do think, and I get it, it is a lot of lip service, Jake. I do think Chris Ballard and Kevin Pritchard typically follow up on those with their actions of those words. I understand where you're getting at, but I think it means
I think if a guy can play and they think it's a difference maker, there are exceptions to anything.
Sure. I do think it means more here. I guess the bigger issue, Jake, again, is just like, why is that a problem last night? Like, you should have urgency.
Right.
You just lost on the road. Like, you should have we talk about the Colts a lot, and I think the Pacers apply to it. just lacking the killer instinct. I thought something Carlisle did great last night was to start the fourth quarter, he had in Sabonis, Brogdon, LeVert. That's your big three. And you're sending a message saying, typically that's a time for the backups to play. Start of the fourth quarter, you play your backups till whatever, 10 minutes, 9 minutes, and you go with your starters. He throws his big guns out there saying, we got to go. And you get that lead back, and then all of a sudden there's no killer instinct whatsoever.
And to your point, it's even more detrimental and even more damning, if you will, when you're losing that, Kevin, to a team in Detroit that has, who are the killer guys on Detroit?
Oh, gosh, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? They got a young guy.
Corey Joseph revenge game.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Right. I mean, it's not like you've got, hey, man, I'm just, there are certain guys, there are certain teams, certain players that look, they're about to get going here. They're about to flip a switch and get going. And you're waiting for it. You're waiting for the other shoe to fall. And with the Detroit Pistons, you look at it once the Pacers got the lead and you're like, okay, well, here we go. And you lose that. And once again, the final few minutes, you get outscored.
Yeah, 16 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, look, I enjoy going to their games and I enjoy watching them, but I think I'm in the minority.
For sure.
And I think there are a lot of people that have just checked out. Hey, you know what? I mean, NBA, same teams always win. Indiana's never going to win.
Pacers run it back.
Correct. I think there is a legit concern over this market's just complete an ambivalence about the Pacers. Okay? Whatever.
Games like last night give a lot of fuel to that fire.
Totally.
And are not going to help the situation at all, especially when you have 10 to 12. It wasn't the case in can you give us a pizza early in the morning?
Pizza.
It wasn't the case last night, and that's probably dangerous of me to kind of feed that out of you, so I should probably watch that.
I was going to say, I'm marking it. Hold on just a second. 7, the other day, for people that don't know, we had a meeting the other day. We had lots of meetings, very important meetings.
Hey, got another one today at 11.
We made a meeting, and they said, now, if there's something, you guys got to find something that makes you click. You need a chemistry between the two of you that you can call on. And I said, well, I do wonderful voices. I have all kinds of great voices, and I can do voices. And they said, well, try not to bother Kevin with the voices. So now at 7:12.
Right. I think I was in the bathroom
30,
at that part.
Yeah, I'm going to write down here on what is today, Mark?
Is November 18th.
November 18th.
Shout out to my mom. She had a birthday a couple days ago. I forgot to mention that on there. Happy birthday, Mom.
That probably should have been something you mentioned on the birthday.
I made sure to text her, write her a card, see her on her birthday.
Let me ask you this. Now we're derailed here, but does your mom have a Facebook account?
I don't think so.
Okay, exactly, right? So there would be no purpose of you posting some big, long, sappy thing on Facebook about how proud you are to be her son on Facebook. So I've never understood the people that are like, can't believe that my little man is 5 today. What a wonderful, your mother and I are so proud of the young man you're growing into with 22 pictures. And I'm like, is this kid doesn't see this, right?
Kids are very technical.
I was going to say,
savvy
after watching
days.
Hard Knocks last night, the Colts might have about 15 little girl Facebooks with all the children they have coming out of that locker room here. What did they say, 7? Is that it, Mark?
Yeah, I'm attempting to add my 3 so we can get a softball team going.
Yeah, 7 current wives of Colts players are pregnant. And that doesn't include, I think, Rigoberto Sanchez's wife. Obviously Carson Wentz's wife just had a baby as well.
Okay,
so.
but here's the thing.
Isn't that not great plan? I mean, not that you can't really plan it, but...
But here's the thing. If you, over the course of a year, there are how many, obviously, in total number of players, if you include practice squad and everything, how many guys are we talking?
Well, it's like 65. Right? But again, how many are married? I would
get
say
that.
Maybe half.
But, I mean, if in most workplaces, if you have 65 men that are between the ages of, for the most part, 23 and 30, you have pretty high odds that 10% of them are going to be starting a family, right?
Yeah, I guess I was narrowing it down to the ones that are actually married versus the ones that aren't. But that was really what predominantly Hard Knocks is about last night. We'll certainly get into that. One thing I did want to mention, Jake, and again, Little Caesars Arena did not have this last night. And the atmosphere at Hinkle lasted about 30 seconds before Michigan State proved that they are on a different level. it just is awesome to see those atmospheres back in college basketball. You know, we didn't get that last year. It was kind of the last sport, I think, to fully be, full attendance at some of these spots. And to see a Assembly Hall rocking like that last night just kind of brought a smile to my face. And I'm not, some diehard IU basketball fan, and I'll feel that way certainly about Mackey and have felt that way about Mackey already this season. But just that under 8 timeout, those sorts of things, kind of the iconic moments that have made Assembly Hall, that was just really cool to see last night.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think people are chomping at, Kevin, just the bit of the two things that I think people most missed, and gosh, I can't wait until we're past talking about, the return to, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like once we're back in the habit. But
I feel like we are, like on the verge of that.
No, I would agree with that. But I think there's still some people that are, the Pacers attendance. I think one of the factors is there are people that are like, look, unless it's must go, like I don't know that I want to go into full arenas yet. I mean, I think it does still exist. But live music, live sporting events, I think those are the two things that people most missed. I walked around last night. I walked around the Fashion Mall because I was like, I just want to get like the ambiance or the feel of like the holidays are here. And then I'm like, wait a minute, we haven't hit Thanksgiving yet.
I thought you wanted a pretzel from Aunt Annie's.
Oh, I'm old enough. I remember the Hot Sam pizza pretzels. Those things were unbelievable. Glendale, and then you take the glass elevator down to the Galleria level.
Sounds good.
So good. You know what it was? It was just all it was a soft pretzel dipped in nacho cheese with like a little tomato sauce on it. And then some Parmesan, but it was good. But I just wanted to walk around, and then I'm like, wait a minute. It's not even Thanksgiving yet, and like already, like people were out, and I saw somebody, and I'm like, why does it feel like everybody's Christmas shopping? And she's like, well, it's because we didn't really get to do it last year, or people just didn't do it last year. So people are chomping at those opportunities, if you will.
Mark, please, one more time, can we hear from Coach Jim Irsay here before we hit our first break? I mean, this has got to be
Mark
added.
is busy making it his ringtone.
This has got to be added.
I say we end with this, and you guys can follow me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Hold on. We will rock you.
Sports Center. Big O Tires Sports Center update. Mercifully, it's next.
This is what you missed if you haven't been listening to Indy's Home for Sports.
This is a monster day for Indianapolis. Thought it was going to be possible.
On your radio.
And it's an over-the-shoulder grab into the end zone for a touchdown.
On the Fan app. You're listening to the best of Kevin and Query on your smart speaker.
You're listening to 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
On your phone.
I mean, what? That is a lot of cash.
I guess you're all out of excuses. Listen anytime you want. Just listen to that. To the Fan.
Sportsbook. The Goblet has dropped. Download it. Must be 21 and up.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Reinhardt Heating and Cooling? Well, find that American Standard dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Black Friday savings are here. Buy 3, get 1 free on Mesa Tires. Save $100 instantly on Cooper Tires and $140 instantly on Michelin Tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
For the first time in the history of Hard Knocks, HBO and NFL Films are teaming up for an in-season edition of the Emmy-winning sports reality franchise. Hard Knocks, in season, the Indianapolis Colts follows the Colts as they navigate the challenges of an NFL season and battle for a spot in the playoffs. This is behind-the-scenes footage of your favorite team like you've never seen before. The docuseries is now streaming on HBO Max with new episodes Wednesdays at 10 p.m.
A new season, a new QB, a new look. Football is back. And so are Bud Light Blue Fridays. Every week, join JMV beginning at 3 for Cold Bud Lights, Colts football talk, and your chance to win tickets to Colts games.
Join me, JMV, this Friday at Broad Ripple Tavern for your chance at Buccaneers tickets.
JMV, Bud Light, and you. Doing it for the shoe.
I'll see you this Friday at Broad Ripple Tavern.
Ryan Kelly is the home loan expert. He's my expert also. I called Ryan several years ago, and we've done a couple of refinances together and even discussed a third before we decided it wouldn't be beneficial at this time. And Ryan, when people call 317-550-1515 or go to thehomeloanexpert.com, I want to tell them not many people in your line of work would be honest enough to advise the customer against a refinance. And you've actually had to do that with some customers that call in.
Absolutely. We're known for that. In fact, we are different than these other mortgage companies. We sit down and we go through your current loan options line by line. So where you are today with your current loan and what a new loan could do for you. Lowering the rate, saving the money, all of that. Then we review the loan amounts, the costs, everything that's involved. And at the end of the discussion, the borrower makes the decision. Is this the right move or not? And I can tell you, when we tell people you're in the best loan you can be in right now, don't refinance, they refer like crazy. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. Thanks, Big Joe.
We've got basketball on our minds. With football already being back, there are tons of action over on PropSwap. For those that don't know, PropSwap is the only place in Indiana where you can buy and sell sports props. It is the place for the best odds in the country. The arrival of basketball has all sorts of NBA team and player props available, plus an intriguing college basketball season for our local teams, which is an avenue that you can explore if you're looking for a little extra rooting interest over on PropSwap. One of the things I love the most about PropSwap is that you can cash your ticket even if your player or your team does not win. Once the odds of that ticket has shrunk, that's when you can put it up for sale, and you can sell a ticket at any point during a game or season. Remember, if you're looking for the best odds in the country, look no further. PropSwap is a way to win bigger at sports betting. There's never been a better time to join. Use promo code FREE100 to receive a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Check out PropSwap.com or download the free PropSwap app today.
Diamonds Direct has enough diamonds right now to supply up to 30 ordinary jewelry stores. From a half carat to 10 carats. Rare, precious diamonds in all shapes. Straight from the world's best diamond cutters. At Diamonds Direct, diamonds are our business, our specialty, our focus. That's why we can guarantee the best diamond selection and the best diamond prices every day, every week, every year. Diamonds Direct. Get store hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Fall is here, and my friend Larry at Whole Wall Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is scheduling furnace tune-ups for customers in Indiana surrounding areas. Whether you have a brand new heating and cooling system or one that's been in your home for years, seasonal wear and tear take a toll. Larry and his techs will check out all the technical and mechanical systems. They'll be sure your furnace filter is ready for the winter. No one wants to be left out in the cold. Give my friends at Whole Wall Heating a call at 317-255-4328 or check them out at wholewallheatingandair.com.
Are you one of the millions of homeowners who haven't refinanced yet? If so, I'm here to tell you it's not too late. Hi, I'm Wesley Hogan with Westland Financial. Although the lowest rates may be in our rearview mirror, as the economy recovers from the biggest economic shock of our lifetime, rates still remain near historic lows. In fact, with the dramatic increase in home values, this may be the perfect time to put that new home equity to work. Take advantage of our cash out refi program and pay off high-rate credit cards, car loans, or other high-interest rate debt. Or finally make those home improvements you put on hold for so long. Best of all, we can do this with no closing costs. That's right. Whether it's a conventional, FHA, or VA loan, we'll pay for your title, settlement, lender, and recording fees. So call Westland at 888-455-3669. That's 888-455-3669. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of mankind. 888-455-3669.
NMLS number 3304. Not all loans apply. Equal housing lender.
Hun, have you seen this internet bill? Why'd the price go up?
I don't know. Did you change anything?
No. Did you? You switched us to those fancy coffee beans. Maybe you're on a roll, making everything more expensive. Did you suddenly inherit money you didn't tell me about?
Whoa.
If your internet bill is giving you trust issues, you're not a bad partner. You just need a straightforward price.
Maybe we switch to decaf.
Get AT&T Fiber. Equipment fees are included, and with no price increase at 12 months, there are no surprises. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/faster.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
It is Michael Badgley as the Colts kicker moving forward, something we've talked about here in recent days. Frank Reich riding the hot, is hot foot the proper term, Jake? Hot leg?
Hot toe.
Hot toe.
I don't know.
The toe basher.
The hot toe.
The ball does pop off the old toe foot of Michael Badgley.
I remember one time interviewing a kicker and saying, like, how strong is your leg? And he said, no, my leg's not strong at all. It's no stronger than yours. My hip flexor snaps with a pop. Like it's...
Well, that's what Hot Rod hurt.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah. So, like, your...
Rodrigo Blankenship, yeah.
I mean, that's like, that's like a race car driver having a flat tire. It's a bit of an issue.
So was it on Hard Knocks that he had a nickname? Because when he went out to go kick the field goal...
Money Badger.
Money Badger, yeah.
Yeah.
Who was that? Yeah.
Leonard, I think. Yeah. And even Wentz mentioned that as well. So it will be the Money Badger moving forward. Rodrigo Blankenship will remain on injured reserve. I think, Jake, you and I both agree with this move. And, like, it's not the end of the world for Hot Rod. He stays on IR, and whenever he's fully healthy, if Badgley struggles... Boom, you got another kicker in your building that can help you out.
Which is a better nickname, Money Badger or Hot Rod?
I think it's Money Badger.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty darn
solid.
Good for a kicker. Now, if you miss, I don't know where they go from there. That can be kind of the issue.
Well, then you know what happens. You take the Money Badger, right? You make change. Boom, Hot Rod back in. That's what happens.
7:25. I never should have brought up the pizza comment.
Pizza.
First segment. First injury report of the week for the Colts. It's actually
this is
rather
off no sleep.
long.
Do you realize this is off no sleep? You wait yourself like 3-6 months before I'm acclimated to this, and let me tell you, buddy,
that's my worry.
Yeah, it's like
I'm already dusting off my LinkedIn.
It's like the racer at Kings Island. Buckle in.
TJ Carey, Eric Fisher, Darius Leonard, Dayo Adengbo, Braden Smith, DeForest Buckner. All the did not practice from yesterday. I will note Leonard on that list, Jake, for this reason. It was an ankle injury, which we saw him aggravate, and they played that last night on Hard Knocks. Just some great behind the scenes with that. So that is not a surprise, but he also was listed with a hand injury, and I think that is notable, certainly because his job is to tackle, and that dude loves to punch the football out.
Yeah.
The Bills' leading rusher, Devin Singletary, fumbles more than anyone in the NFL. So that, I think, is a storyline to watch as the week plays out.
So you are saying there could be the possibility, even though not at full, like one of the balances is going to give here in the Colts take away game or effort in Buffalo, right?
Number one in takeaways, the Bills. Number two, the Colts. A huge storyline, and obviously Leonard's been massive with that, so I just think that's something to keep an eye on. Xavier Rhodes limited, Quentin Nelson full. We're going to have Zach Kiefer on later. We'll touch on this a little bit later in the show, but if you're going with the hot hand at kicker, wouldn't you go with the hot hand at corner so Xavier Rhodes wouldn't get his job back? Maybe it's not apples to apples, but in my mind, it should be apples to apples.
I think, again, I didn't play either position, admittedly, but it does feel like kicker is the most psychological position in the NFL. And so your mental, if you are on in a zone, in a hot streak at the kicker position, that is more applicable towards carrying forward than at the corner position.
Fair. So I think that'll be interesting to see if they stick with Rock Ya-Sin, Isaiah Rodgers there at corner, or go back to Xavier Rhodes. Pacers 97-89. They lose last night to the Pistons, now 6-10 on the year. This is the definition of a bad loss. Turnover numbers really high. Domantas Sabonis had a handful of turnovers. Miles Turner had 4. When Sabonis and Turner are combining for 9 turnovers, like what?
They just couldn't get anything going. They finally got together late in the third and put together a run to get the lead, and you thought, okay, here we go. Like finally they flipped the switch against a 3-win team. Jeremy Grant, Corey Joseph. Cade Cunningham's a special talent, but I mean, he's a rookie. Bad loss. Karis LeVert, 7 of 18, has looked rusty since coming back. He had a nice third quarter spurt, but that was about it. At Charlotte tomorrow, and then home for 10 of 12 beginning Saturday with the Pelicans. Last night in Bloomington, 76-74. Just a really fun game. IU very impressive in the first half, and then really took every St. John's punch in the second half and punched back. Mike Woodson last night after the win.
It's a major plus because, again, this team hadn't been together that long. And for them to make plays down the stretch like they've made in this game as well as the Eastern Michigan game, man, it just tells me that they're committed and they want to win. So, I mean, it's nice to see. And, now we got to put this one behind us. We'll watch some film, break it down, and then we'll move on to our next opponent.
Mike Woodson, and I realize he spent some time in Atlanta, But considering that, he went to broader pool, he went to Indiana, he played in the NBA for the most part, the majority of his career probably in Kansas City, you would say, and then coached in New York. Like, that sounds like a guy that's from, like, Macon, Georgia. He has kind of a drawl, doesn't he?
I said this to Mark a few months ago. I don't need a sound machine for Rosie. If Mike Woodson just wants to read her bedtime stories, Rosie would fall asleep instantly.
Well, he kind of looks like that, doesn't he?
I think he could be brilliant at that. I don't know if he wants to retire after a handful of successful seasons in Bloomington. He can come to the Bowen household, or hell, the Colts might need somebody with all the babies they've got in that building. Trace Jackson-Davis at 18, or excuse me, Trace Jackson Davis. Jeez, how much sleep did I get last night? 18
How much did you get? How much sleep did you get?
So I had a little HBO issue, which we'll get into, but I was in bed by about 11:30.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Maybe 11:45. Yeah, I'm not.
But you get up at what time?
I got.
You got the hat on. Is that the symbol?
5:15. My wife is off to Austin, Texas for 5 days.
Have you been to Austin?
No, but I have a bachelor party there in a few months that I am debating about going to.
Anywhere that you are in Austin, Texas, if you put in, you're like, oh, there's this great barbecue restaurant, let's go, or the cool bar, cool live band, let's go watch it. You put it into your phone. It is 3 miles or 47 minutes.
Oh, geez.
The entire area of Austin, Texas literally
Sounds like L.A.
It's like 77th and Keystone right now, or Illinois right here outside of Buca de Beppo.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Illinois is awful. Let's go over to Delaware. Oh, geez, Delaware looks like an asteroid just hit the earth over there.
Yeah.
Trace Jackson-Davis, 18 points for him. But we talked about it a little bit earlier, Jake. Support late in games. Xavier Johnson, huge drive. I know he missed the free throw, but that was big. Geronimo had some quality minutes there in the final. Kind of surged there in the second half. Race Thompson had the little floater kind of in the lane there as well. I think those are pivotal moments for, again, a program and a team that hasn't had many of those moments.
And
lately.
I think that Indiana, in trying to find some scoring outside of the low post consistently, may have found it in, again, very early, obviously, but it does look like Tamar Bates could be an emerging offensive player for Indiana.
Yeah, really good in the first half as well there. So again, IU gets an important win with a non-conference resume that doesn't have much. Butler, that was just awful last night. One of the worst home losses in program history. I get that they're down a couple guys right now, Jake, but I'm expecting a better effort at home than that.
Especially against a team like Michigan State, who themselves, Kevin, a little bit enigmatic, right?
Right. Unranked, 73-52 was the final from Hinkle there. 28% from the floor for Butler.
How often do you go to Hinkle?
Probably 1 to 2 games a year.
Because it is...
Go to the Chatham Tap.
Right there. That's cool.
Probably about once a month.
They've got a great turkey burger, by the way.
Really?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Not a big turkey burger guy, but I might dabble.
You will be if you try theirs.
We live close to Butler, so we love just going over to campus and walking around there.
It's very cool. Last night, Hard Knocks, it was the inaugural, if you will. Is that a word? I don't know. The initial, the debut of the Colts Hard Knocks mid-season form. Did you watch? If so, what did you think, aside from Jim Irsay being the greatest ringleader in the history of music? But what did you think? Or have your viewing habits changed where you said, you know what, I'm going to watch it. I don't have to watch it right when it first airs. I want to know what you folks think. 317-239-1070 is the telephone number. At 7:33 in the morning, you're listening to Kevin and Query here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan.
Hey, let's talk about diamonds. Selecting a diamond for an engagement ring is not an everyday experience. It's an important purchase, and at Shane Company, we make it informative and fun. And honestly, it's easy. Cut, color, clarity, and carat weight are important. They're your 4 C's. But here's the deal. At Shane Company, we won't just tell you our diamonds are more beautiful, we'll show you. Come in to compare a Shane Company diamond side by side with a non-Shane Company diamond in the same grade. You'll see for yourself that our diamond has more beauty and sparkle. You'll be blown away when you see that 2 diamonds in the exact same grade can look so different. Our diamond experts examine each diamond individually and hand select each diamond for its beauty. Whether you're shopping in person or online, we have the same rigorous selection process for all the diamonds we sell. Visit us today. You'll have the confidence to pick the diamond that's perfect for you.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Payless has great deals for the holidays. You need some wine for Thanksgiving? Pick up some Prisoner's Red Blend, only $44.99 a bottle. Oyster Bay and Kendall Jackson Vintner's Reserve Chardonnay are only $9.99 a bottle, and Berger White Zin's $2.99 a bottle. Mom Water is only $8.99 for the 4-pack, and that's keto-friendly. Plus, Crown ready-to-drink options are only $12.99 for the 4-pack. Be sure to follow Payless Liquors on social media for updates on great holiday events, or stop by one of their 26 locations online at PaylessLiquors.com. Don't pay more, get more, and pay less at Payless Liquors.
Hey, this is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. And yes, it's true, I've used More Restoration on my home 3 times for fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become part of First On Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On Site. When you need help, call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On Site company.
Last year, this is what a touchdown sounded like at a high school football game without fans.
Blue Diving, set, hut! Touchdown, Tigers!
Without you there, Indiana high school sports just weren't the same. But this year,
Blue Diving, set, hut!
a touchdown will sound like a touchdown again because you'll be there to experience it. High school sports are far better with you in the stands. That's because high school sports are about more than the game. They're about the community. They're about the fans in the stands who come together to cheer for the leaders of tomorrow.
Fans, I'm Commissioner Paul Knight, and I just want to welcome you back to the stands. The students and schools deserve your support.
This is high school football. This is Friday night. This is your IHSAA.
Here's what's happening with the Fan.
It's another Bud Light Blue Friday this week. Drink ice-cold Bud Light and sign up for your chance to win Colts tickets as JMV broadcasts live. Visit 1075thefan.com to see where we'll be next. Bud Light, brewed for the Colts and their fans. Live from Pearl Street Pizzeria this Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m. Join JMV as he broadcasts for Larceny Locks and Lunazool Shots. Come listen to the Larceny Lock and enjoy some Lunazool Shots.
For more info, click on 1075thefan.com.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with a local trusted team that puts you first. Go to BetRivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
You've been lied to. Lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine. Hi, I'm Inc. magazine best-selling author Brett Kitchen, and I want to give you a free copy of my brand new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because we all know another market crash could be right around the corner. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough, and since then I discovered a way to grow money potentially double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free copy and talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose when the next stock market crash hits, all while building a tax-advantaged retirement. Call 800-503-2828 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 1-800-503-2828. 1-800-503-2828. That's 1-800-503-2828.
This is Sam Hyde with the Salvation Army. This Christmas, almost 6,000 children in central Indiana are depending on Angel Tree to put gifts under their Christmas tree. We need your help to make this happen, so we're making it easy to participate right from home. Angels can be adopted online by visiting salvationarmyindiana.org/angeltree. Choose your angel, buy your gifts, and return them to the Salvation Army by December 3rd. Learn more at salvationarmyindiana.org/angeltree.
It's championship weekend at Marian University. The Knights take on Southwestern College in the first round of NAIA football playoffs at 1:05 p.m. Then stick around for a women's volleyball playoff at 6. It's all happening this Saturday only at Marian University. Go Knights!
Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
What the hell is going on here?
I rolled at Mark Dykton as well.
That's just the singing nun.
I didn't know if Jim Irsay had another song that we missed last night, but
No, it's Carson Wentz's daughter, the song that she was listening to.
The ta-ta-ta?
Bongo cha-cha-cha.
That was it, cha-cha-cha.
Can you play that again? Can you start that again?
Yeah, let me start it over again.
Here's what I'd like to do. Can we morph this with Jim Irsay saying, all right, guys?
I feel like the chips and salsa just got to the table.
Follow my lead here.
Part of Hard Knocks last night.
Cha-cha!
A whole lot of Carson Wentz and Darius Leonard. Home children action there.
Hey,
Jake, were you able to...
Hang on. Bonga! Come on, guys!
I felt like it was like what do they call it before rugby matches? The haka?
Yeah, the New Zealanders do that.
That's what I felt like
Correct.
Irsay was about to do. And
Correct.
The best part is you watch Jonathan Taylor in the background. It's almost like Jonathan Taylor notices the camera and he just slowly moves out of the shot. Like, I don't know what's about to happen, but I'm sweating.
Well, you could tell, and I couldn't tell who it was, but there is one player, looks like a lineman, that kind of does like the side eye, like,
yeah,
what?
I think it was Chris Reed.
What's going on here? Yeah. Listen, so last night, Hard Knocks, the initial airing of the Colts midseason Hard Knocks was last night, 10 p.m. Highly anticipated. Kevin, there are two things that I find fascinating here, aside from the first being the obvious, the Colts on Hard Knocks. The second being, you have HBO and then you have HBO Max, which is the app form of HBO.
Yeah, and streaming.
Or the streaming form, yeah. And I think there are a lot of people that now, and I do think that quarantine started this. During quarantine, when basically the whole world shut down in 2020 during COVID, people got used to watching. Tiger King came out and Netflix, and I think people got used to watching television, not in its initial run air form, but rather on their own time. Hey, did you watch such and such last night? Well, I got to get to that. I've got it, and that's on my list. That's in my queue. So last night, you had the option of either watching at 10 o'clock or people saying perhaps, no, I saved that because I'm going to do it on the elliptical at 4 o'clock this afternoon or whatever, right?
Or I don't watch IU St. John's. Like, live sports
Correct.
is the only thing you need to watch live, right?
That is correct, yes. So I'm curious to know whether people watched it like appointment viewing last night or was it appointment recording? You know what I mean? Like so open disclaimer, and I was relieved to know that apparently I was not the only one here. Open disclaimer, I yesterday had a ton going on, and I did get, whatever, people can say what they want about this. I got the booster yesterday, so I was like, okay, I'm probably going to be tired. I was anticipating, maybe it was whatever in my mind. And should we
take calls on should you get the booster or not? Do you want to go there?
That's right. No, I'd rather not.
I think I have Greg Doyle's number if you want to go there.
That might be part of the reason I'm here. But that to be said, so the HBO Max, I know right at 10 p.m. because I do not get HBO. And I was at Shannon's and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It looks like you have HBO. So I want to record it.
So you went to the actual channel HBO.
Correct. Okay. I used the voice thing on the phone, HBO. And then it said, like, would you like to record
and
this?
Do you mind asking the cable service? Because I know we had issues with
Xfinity.
Okay.
So when I put it, but she doesn't have HBO, but it said that we could record it. And I'm like, perfect. I'll just record it and then wait until like 10 after and start it. And when I did that, it was like, you must get a subscription. And I'm like, well, this can take an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just do it later on. So I did not actually see it. Then I saw that a lot of people who were watching it on the stream service as opposed to over the area HBO were like 20 minutes behind, right?
Yeah, so HBO Max, it did not appear right away at 10 o'clock. I believe that was an HBO issue. I don't think this is going to be a weekly thing.
So HBO viewers were actually Irsay leading We Will Rock You, and stream viewers were the rest of the roster.
Yeah, exactly.
Waiting to find out what was happening, right?
Wait, where's he going to this beat? Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Will goes, recording? Is Jake living in the 90s?
Well, it's a euphemism for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, for that matter, though.
I can be an old soul, so
Did you say Will?
Will, correct.
Well, Will, for what it's worth, if you have, for example, Xfinity, when you go into, if there is a show, it says, would you like to record this? And you say yes, and then that means, do you want to save it in your queue to watch later on your... Yes, it is not on a tape, but it is technically being recorded.
Yeah, here's my VHS.
So thank you.
I'm going to go in there. I think, in general, the biggest takeaway, and we had someone tweet at us, Jake, and say, I think I'm eating my words about Hard Knocks. I loved your director interview yesterday, and episode 1 was well made and made the Colts look legit. You know, how legit did the Colts look? Whatever. I think at the end of the day, Jake, Colts fans, assuming that is your favorite team, you just got 45 minutes last night of unique access on your favorite football team. And how do you not like that? Like,
no, you're right.
You can make the, they showed too much Carson Wentz's family. You know, Darius Leonard's daughter needs a Sprite deal after last night. Like, you can go all these different ways with it. But I think no matter what, you're getting stuff that 31 other teams are not getting.
You know, one thing that I always found strange, when the Colts, and we talked about this yesterday with Steve, the director, when the Colts are smart, and Kevin, this is where it's headed, okay? Eventually, all teams are going to have their own marketing, videography, television department.
It's like Longhorn Network.
Correct, right? So,
although that's not going very well.
But yeah, you're right. But the Colts, when they started doing their own in-house production, and I mean, you worked over there, but when they started, and guys and gals, they do a phenomenal job of producing their own videos and everything else, and they started doing their own. The Colts did kind of their own version of Hard Knocks. I mean, with the next pick, I think is what it's called during the draft, and inside the locker room access. And I couldn't believe how all of the local TV stations were promoting it. Oh, you got to watch this. This is unbelievable. Look at what the Colts are producing in-house. And I'm like, guys, the more that the Colts do that, the less you need your 11 o'clock local news sportscast, right? You're biting the hand that feeds you here. So Hard Knocks, to me, is a preview of what ultimately teams are going to be able to internally produce on their own. And this is the introduction of what possibly the Colts are going to be able to give you from here moving forward.
Yes, I still think you're going to have these press conference settings where...
No, I get
it's
it.
It's not just all puff and fluff and
I get that.
Things like that. So,
but in terms of like covering the draft and things like that and behind the scenes stuff,
yeah,
it's stuff that your local sports guy can't get you.
So what was the most fascinating thing that you saw last night?
So I'm probably less of the human interest side of it. Now, as a father of a young girl, I absolutely loved the Wentz and the Leonard. And I don't know about you, Mark, but like,
same.
I mean, how much could you put yourself in those shoes? Now, maybe some of the toys looked a little different and some of the houses looked a little different. But like, once they went through that front door, it was like you or I almost, at least how I felt, brushing teeth. And Darius Leonard, I couldn't empathize more with. How do I do your hair?
That's the only hairstyle I know too.
I was
ponytail.
like, gosh, Maddie's about to be gone for a few days. I'm thinking to myself, Rosie's going to have a mullet for the next 5 days. But so I loved that. But what I really liked, two things. The Baltimore game, of course, didn't go well. But how about Frank Reich leading into that game explaining, guys, their field goal block crew sees holes in you and attacks that. Sure enough, you go to the game, Calais Campbell blocks a field goal. And this is like on a Tuesday. Then last week, the Jacksonville game, Bubba Ventrone says to Frank Reich early in the week, Coach, we are going to block a punt. And he tells his team in the team meetings, Zaire, it could be you, it could be any of you. And sure enough, that comes to fruition. Now, obviously, there's some post-editing involved in that.
And do they say that every week?
Right, but I just think it's cool to kind of set it up of like, all right, here is how the sausage made, and then here how it is executed then on game days. How about you?
I thought the Ballard Scotty Montgomery conversation about
really
Jonathan
good.
Taylor was really good.
Yeah, really good.
There was a scene when they're coming out for the Jaguars game where the cinematography is phenomenal, but Darius Leonard's coming out of the tunnel, and it looks like a video game. That's how great it looked.
Love the drone
phenomenal.
shots. I thought all the visuals I thought were really, really cool as well.
And then if there's any question about Frank Reich's love for Carson Wentz, you got it answered yesterday because, I mean, like you said, if he could adopt him as a son, I'm pretty sure he would. The way he was talking about it, the way they had the old footage of them with the Eagles, the draft day stuff, I thought that was all awesome.
And I felt one more thing that kind of stood out to me, and I don't know, maybe this is me getting too deep in it, and we got Todd and Sean, we want to get their thoughts on Hard Knocks as well. But you have all of these. Maybe this is just me, but my parents' best friends are parents of my friends and my brother's friends, if that makes sense.
Right. No, yeah.
And I think that's kind of inevitably how your friendships evolve over time. At least that's how I grew up in my environment. So I see Carson Wentz in this new environment here in Indianapolis, and Jake, there's a scene where he's FaceTiming Ryan Kelly and Mark Glowinski at Lucas Oil Stadium. Glowinski and Kelly are there for gender reveals for his two of his offensive linemen. And like all of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, oh wow, the Wentz family with these young girls will now be hanging out inevitably with his offensive linemen. And they have young girls, Ryan Kelly and Glowinski. And then Darius Leonard's wife is in the suite with Carson Wentz's wife during the Jacksonville game. And they're hanging out. And there's very cute scenes between those daughters. Like, what I'm getting at is Carson Wentz, based off where he is family life-wise, has a lot of similarities with players in that locker room that he didn't have in Philadelphia. He hadn't started a family.
Well, that's
yet
the thing.
There.
I mean,
so I think that will be something that he's going to have here in Indianapolis.
And I don't disagree with that. And it is a perspective certainly that you would have that I don't. I mean, as a parent, admittedly, but you would think that just based on the age and demographic of players in the NFL, like I said earlier, that would have been the case most places. That if you go right now to the Arizona Cardinals, I'm assuming you've got 4 or 5 guys who have young kids, and that's you know what I mean, and therefore just the bond of teammate in general. But that further cements that bond.
Yeah, and I just think it's I think it matters. I don't know how much, but I think it's something that obviously will be helpful to Carson. Todd wanted to talk a little Hard Knocks. Todd, welcome into Kevin and Query.
Hey, what's happening? Good morning.
That's our man. What's happening, Todd? Todd, what's up, man?
Go. How are you, Jake?
Todd, let me ask you something.
Todd
just
sounds like Irsay in the locker room.
Todd, are you a caffeine drinker?
No, I got a nice cold water right now, getting ready to rock and roll, going for the morning.
Well, I say we end with this. You guys can follow
Sing it.
me.
Come on, Todd. Sing it with us here. Can you follow?
Yes, sir. Does anybody else when you started this off?
Todd, that pretty much personifies you. All right, what'd you think, Todd?
First off, that is my owner right there, baby.
Ain't it?
Jim Irsay. Tell you what, that's the best owner in the league. And for everybody that's listening, I'm probably going to be the biggest Colts homer you'll ever meet. And if you're a homer and you like good storytelling, you better subscribe to HBO because it is so fascinating to watch this. And the way that they opened it up, I mean, they broke down basically the first 4 games. Like everybody, I didn't know how this was going to go. I think when you guys were talking about it at the beginning of this, I think the media was saying maybe they picked the Colts because of COVID protocol and Darius Leonard, all the Colts, Carson Wentz, they didn't get vaccinated. There wasn't one comment about that. So I was glad that happened. They opened it up with the first 4 games. They broke that down. So fantastic. But you guys basically said everything I was going to say. There was one thing I was fascinated with that you haven't said, and I don't know how much they were going to give away. I don't know how much coaches give away, if other coaches or other players watch this thing to give away anything. They showed a clip of Urban Meyer before the game where he was talking about basically what type of defense he may or may not run, and then they transitioned over to Frank Reich, and Frank brought it up, and he basically said, look, I heard Urban talk in the press conference, and we're going to need to run the football. and that's all they gave away. And of course, they went to JT right after that. Look, it was what I'm going to love about this series, and when they break it down every week to week, they clearly showed that this is going to be a week to week to week type of series.
Todd, the Colts right now are 5-5, right? They got 7 games left. Would you like to right now on the air, what's happening, Todd, make a prediction for me on what the Colts record will be over the course of their final 7 games?
Yeah, the Colts don't lose. So that's what's going to be even better about this series. Can you imagine when the Colts go 7-0 and take it all the way to the Super Bowl? Like, they're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl now with this HBO Hard Knocks, and we get to see the whole thing.
Todd, you're going to have the "We Will Rock You" chants up and down Georgia Street during the victory parade.
That's right. It's going to sound.
Right.
This is Todd at home right here.
Hashtag, that's my owner. That is my owner, baby.
Thank you, Todd.
It's our man, What's Happening, Todd.
I do think, Jake, like, people love Jim Irsay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, how do you not? You know, like, that scene and his passion.
There's no denying
he's
that
one
he is
of a
an
kind.
owner that wants to win. There's
And
no
we didn't
denying.
they didn't even get into the. I mean, Steve Trout, the director we had on yesterday, he's been traveling the U.S. with Irsay. We're going to get a lot more Irsay-centric, feature stuff.
Centric is a key syllable there, right? or suffix.
On future Hard Knocks. And just, I think, a little bit peek behind the curtain, and we'll get to Sean as well here after the break. But I believe next week, DeForest Buckner, Jonathan Taylor featured among, obviously, the Buffalo game focus. I think that's how each week's going to be. A couple feature stories, along with, obviously, what's going on here in this week.
Your favorite morning radio tandem featured on Hard Knocks.
Do you really think they're going to put us in there?
Oh, come on. Are you kidding? They know what's up. I don't know. I think of myself as more Showtime than HBO, admittedly.
Oh, boy. There goes any chance.
Steve Trout is hitting the cutting room floor right now.
Jake's head just hit the Monument Circle lights with how big the ego is.
Steve Trout is probably saying, now, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right. One guy, the better looking of the two, take him out.
Jeff Query? We got to get him out of there.
That's right. Scott Agnes coming up at 8:30, but more on Hard Knocks next. It's Kevin and Query.
This is a sports town. You're a guy.
Or a gal.
So 1075thefan.com is your website. From the Colts to the Pacers, from IndyCar to Indy high school sports, plus coaches' interviews, event info, free stuff, and beer.
There's no beer.
My bad. Plus blogs and podcasts from Kevin and Query, Dan Dockich, and JMV. And you can always listen to us live from anywhere on planet Earth.
24 hours a day.
All at 1075thefan.com.
Presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. The Goblet has dropped. Download it. Must be 21 and up.
Did you know that Forum Credit Union has been helping members live their financial dreams since 1941? Hey, it's JMV, and it's true. Forum was started as a local cooperative helping Hoosiers with their savings and borrowing needs. Now, today, Forum provides the same local service and expertise, but with the high-tech options your busy life demand. Whether you're buying a car or a house or looking for the everyday ways to save and spend more wisely, Forum has a local team of experts who make managing your finances easy. Visit forumcu.com today.
I'm not saying you have to love football. We all have different likes and dislikes, people. Personally, I'm not a fan of the avocado. I just don't like the mouthfeel. But if you're someone who loves football, truly loves it well, my sportsbook app might be the greatest thing that has ever happened to you.
Must be 21. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, 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 Royal Pin.
Bowling's back. Same great game, new rules. And Royal Pin Entertainment wants to help you put the fa-la-la back into your corporate Christmas event. Royal Pin Entertainment offers the perfect combination of food and fun. At Royal Pin, you don't have to be a super athlete to have a blast, and everyone's on the team when you're bowling. It's time to get jolly, and Royal Pin has all the trimmings your company needs to make this year's Christmas event the best ever. It's always comfy in their modern entertainment centers, and bowling's guaranteed to create team spirit and glad tidings. Let Royal Pin organize your company's Christmas event. For more information, download the Open Lane app, call 465-8484, or look them up at royalpin.com.
Royal Pin. Bowling, bowling. Royal Pin.
Diamonds Direct has enough diamonds right now to supply up to 30 ordinary jewelry stores. From a half carat to 10 carats. Rare, precious diamonds in all shapes. Straight from the world's best diamond cutters. At Diamonds Direct, diamonds are our business, our specialty, our focus. That's why we can guarantee the best diamond selection and the best diamond prices every day, every week, every year. Diamonds Direct. Get store hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Hey, it's Big Joe for Absolute Comfort, your trusted independent American Standard Air dealer. Owner Chris Wettikin sells the ductless Mitsubishi Electric Mini Split, which is a clean and extremely energy-efficient way to heat and cool a specific area.
These systems don't run the air through the ductwork, which is where a lot of your dust and allergies and other displeasing smells come from. And maybe best of all, you're not circulating viruses throughout the home.
Find out more at AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your trusted independent American Standard Air Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro dealer.
Tired of living with awful joint pain? If you've been to an orthopedic surgeon, you know the drill. Pain meds, steroids, physical therapies, right? When those Band-Aids don't work, you know what's next. Here comes surgery, maybe even major surgery. This is Kevin Bowen, and I'm here to say you don't have to do this. Not until you check out QC Kinetics and get a second opinion. Learn more about natural biological treatments, regenerative alternatives that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your knees, shoulders, back, and hips, other joints as well. QC Kinetics uses natural biologicals from your own body and concentrates them in the precise damage area for lasting relief. And it's an in-office treatment with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. Don't go into the knife if you don't have to. Call QC Kinetics and get a second opinion now. You got nothing to lose. Call the local professionals at QC Kinetics. 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160. Non-surgical regenerative options are here. The medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 463-235-7160.
Hun, have you seen this internet bill? Why'd the price go up?
I don't know. Did you change anything?
No. Did you? You switched us to those fancy coffee beans. Maybe you're on a roll, making everything more expensive. Did you suddenly inherit money you didn't tell me about?
Whoa.
If your internet bill is giving you trust issues, you're not a bad partner. You just need a straightforward price.
Maybe we switch to decaf.
Get AT&T Fiber. Equipment fees are included, and with no price increase at 12 months, there are no surprises. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/faster.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
Join me today. I got Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts, John Murphy, the voice of the Bills. Also recap college hoops from last night, Butler and IU. Let's do this today, noon to 3.
It's Kevin and Query.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey, quit calling the plays, all right? We gotta run the ball. When we pass, watch. We'll run the ball. Can we run it down there? Just play. We run it down. Yeah, Jeff. We will. All right, when we call pass plays, block.
On 93.5
Boom, baby.
and 107.5. The Fan.
Looks like a nice Thursday morning here in the city of Indianapolis. Kevin Bowen and Jake Query. Kind of a mixed bag last night basketball-wise. Ugly at Hinkle. Not good tasting pizza for the visitors at Little Caesars up in Detroit. But great win last night in Bloomington for the Hoosiers as they hold on to beat St. John's 76-74.
Those were the two least attended at their home games teams in the NBA, right? Aren't the Pacers second right now in lowest attendance?
I believe that's right.
Pistons, the lowest attendance, right?
You're right, and I think you saw why last night. Yeah.
Look, for the Pacers, bad effort, quite frankly. Just not interesting. Butler getting in a huge hole against Michigan State. Indiana holding on. Again, losing the lead, you could say that that's of concern, but finding a way to win, getting it in the signature ways that I thought, going to have to improve the free throw shooting, and then Hard Knocks, the capper on the evening that I think a lot of people really enjoyed, Kevin.
You know, a couple of things that I wanted to mention about Hard Knocks we hadn't yet. Mark, you brought up some of the great footage that NFL Films was able to kind of dig up. How about the Super Bowl? So, Jake, they Eagles obviously won the Super Bowl, and Frank Reich comes to Indianapolis. In the summer after the Eagles win the Super Bowl, Frank Reich goes back to Philly for the ring ceremony. And,
right.
It's a very party, black tie scene. And they had somebody mic'd up. Either would have been Reich or Wentz. Frank Reich is talking to Carson Wentz and his wife Madison at this ceremony. And again, it looks like it's at some plush estate, probably in the Philly, New Jersey area, wherever. And they're just talking about how life is in Indy and things like that. And it's just those little kind of scenes that you're like, where in the world do they get this footage?
Yeah.
You're how do they have that? But it adds to the storyline of what Mark said earlier, and what I've said since this trade was even being rumored. Carson Wentz is the son Frank Reich has never had. Might sound weird, might sound creepy. I'm a firm believer.
above and beyond now, the question would be this. Is Carson Wentz, and I don't know the answer to this, Kevin, and I'm saying that you do, is Carson Wentz the son that Frank Reich never had? Fair point. Or are quarterbacks in general? In other words, does he...
No, I think it's the morals.
Did he have that relationship with Nick Foles, who was also a scrupulous, faith-based individual, right?
I think it comes down a lot to those morals.
Well, but Nick Foles has those.
Yeah, and he loves Nick Foles, but I think it's probably a mix of he also thinks Carson Wentz is a little bit more talented than Nick Foles.
No, that's entirely possible, yeah.
And I think it's the whole drafting storyline. Mark brought this up again earlier. There was some great North Dakota State pro day footage, and you asked anybody in the Eagles organization who stood on the table the most to trade up. Philly traded up twice to get Carson Wentz. It's not like they had the number 2 overall pick the whole time. It was Frank Reich. So, yeah, I mean, could Nick Foles be the other kid that he kind of likes, but Carson's maybe his favorite son?
To answer your other question, I would assume this is the case, to answer your question. Obviously, NFL Films has an access that nobody else has because it's exactly that, NFL Films, right? And that's the creme de la creme. And NFL Films has their own camera crews that they send into places. But being somebody who worked at a local television affiliate, okay, when you work at an ABC, which is Channel 6 here, NBC, which is Channel 13, there are systems of reciprocity that take place of video swapping. I don't know. I would imagine this is the case with NFL Films, but where NFL Films calls and says, hey, by any chance, did you guys happen to shoot the practice before the Kansas City game 2 years ago, whatever else? Do you have video of that? And if so, is there any way that we can get that video from you? And more often than not, you supply them that video because it's the proverbial I scratch your back, you scratch mine. So then when something happens, you call NFL Films and you're like, you develop that relationship with the producer there and you have that back and forth. So they have means to get a lot of different things.
Yeah, and the Colts in-house production staff, Matt Woken over there, Kevin Connors, all those guys, they've done tremendous, I think, in helping them out as well. Mason goes, there's nothing like NFL Films music. Hard Knocks soundtrack alone is worth watching. I could not agree more with that. Then you throw in a We Will Rock You version of Jim Irsay.
Can we get Jim Irsay doing the We Will Rock You again?
What more do you need? You talk about live music, Jake?
Can we...
Well, I say we end with this. You guys can follow me.
No, we can't. We can't.
Follow me.
Hold on. We will rock
you. There's no rise in voice inflection over the We Will Rock You. He comes in with it is glass shattering.
But doesn't everybody know? Like when I was at Eastwood Middle School and we played Northview, we knew that everybody sat in the stands and it was 2 pounds of the foot and then one on the seat, like boom, boom.
But see, Jake, that's narrow. That's
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
He was doing a remix.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
You're being too narrow-minded. It's everything about remixes and covers nowadays.
Does he say, you guys can follow me, or does he say, can you guys follow me?
Can you guys?
I think he just says, follow me. He just says, guys, you know who the leader is in this locker room. You guys just follow me.
I signed the checks, boys. Let's go.
Is that a statement or a question? You know what I mean? Obviously, if you are in the crowd, it is rhetorical when Jim Irsay says it, right? But nonetheless...
Bart goes, how about the sweet suit jacket Frank had on that Eagles Super Bowl gala? GQ Frank.
That was very spiffy. Very spiffy.
I thought Jeremiah Johnson and Clyde Frazier had a child, and it was Frank Reich.
And the bow tie, too.
Whew, yeah. You look good there. Let's get to Sean. Sean wanted to talk about Hard Knocks. Sean, what'd you think of last night?
Big fan of you guys. Congrats on the show.
Appreciate that.
But with Hard Knocks and all, one thing that kind of really stood out to me is they added a reality twist, almost like you guys bring up, you've watched Housewives with your wives before and how they have little sit-down interviews. I was a little surprised with that. I do like that and the twist with it. And what you guys were saying about, Wentz being, Wright's son. I mean, he saw Wentz grow up from, this little kid almost just out of college to being a dad. And I think that, seeing him and have those same relationships with the Bible verse and, having the same type of, connection there. And then now he gets to see him as a grown man. They connect on kind of like a different level. But overall, I like the show. it was, the town of Indianapolis hasn't really had anything super cool like that. So I think it's awesome that they found it here.
Sean, thank you for the call.
Kevin, what sporting event happens every 4 years, does massive television numbers, and takes over television for a 3-week period?
The Olympics.
Correct. The reason the Olympics, Summer or Winter Olympics, if you watch the Olympics, very few moments of Olympic coverage are actual event. It is, here's the backstory of the swimmer who grew up in a small town in Georgia and only had one pool, and it's the human interest, right? And the job of television is to get as many viewers as possible. And in television sports, oftentimes, look at fantasy football. When did fantasy football in the NFL have a meteoric rise? It's once the significant others of men who were watching football got interested. And women, a lot of them, got interested in the NFL because they started playing in a fantasy league, and they're like, well, it was really fun because I was in third place in my husband's league. And it is very smart of NFL Films and Hard Knocks to not only feature what the Colts are doing, as you're talking about, the X's and O's of Frank Reich predicting blocked punts and things like that. That gets you, right? But along with yourself, and I'm not. This is not meant to say that women don't like football. I'm not saying that. But people that are not football fans are still fans of human interest. And so what Hard Knocks is doing here, Kevin, that is brilliant, is they are producing content that is appealing to all bases, football fan or not. Because even if you're not a football fan, you are a fan of watching somebody with a small child and at home reading books, etc. You know what I mean?
This will be appointment television for my wife over the next 2 months.
Correct.
And same. My wife has watched 6 minutes of Colts football all year long.
Now, that Real Housewives thing, on the other hand, not appointment viewing.
Not appointment viewing. My wife calls it trash television, and she literally watches it nonstop.
I mean, listen, yes. Hold on, we just got to wait. These two are going to argue. We got to wait. Give it 5 more minutes. They're about to get in a fight.
Can we get Jim Irsay, "We Will Rock You" leading into some of those scenes?
That'd be awesome.
You know?
Did you cringe a little bit when it started and they showed Frank Reich's mountain to success? And you're like, oh boy. Yeah. The first one said dominate the division. And you're like, ooh,
so
I know
Jake,
how this is going.
The opening scene, which, again, this is something I did like. The opening scene is Frank having his leadership council. So players in the team that you'd consider captains, whatever, in the big team meeting room. They come in early, it sounds like, before one of these, official days start. And again, they're going over their kind of goals to the season or whatever, pathways to success. Dominate the division was number 1. Clearly, that did not happen.
That was at the bottom of a mountain.
Narrator voice. That did not.
It goes.
That did not happen. Was it like takeaways? I think was second. Which actually they've done.
Dominate division, turnover differential, adversity, prosperity, winners win, point differential, and playoff destination.
Okay.
That's the top of the mountain.
Now, what I liked was they panned to the players sitting in the seats, and one of the members of the leadership council was, obviously, you can name 95% of them, Wentz, Leonard, Buckner, etc. One of them was Grover Stewart. I don't think that's a player you would expect to necessarily be in the leadership council. So I think it's those, and maybe I'm being way too nerdy, Jake, in liking that part of the show.
I get it.
But I think it gives you an intel of oh, wow, Grover Stewart really means a lot to that football team.
But here is the thing where I think people should proceed with caution is the wrong word, where viewer discretion is advised. It used to be, and there was nothing that was more exciting than when at 10 o'clock at night it would say, the following program has viewer discretion advised. And you're like, yes, please, SSN, please. Or SSC, whatever it was.
JMV's like, here we go.
Right. Having said that, viewer discretion is a little bit advised because I could see how people will, because they get a glimpse behind the curtain, they will say, oh, wait a minute. This is more deep thinking and intricate than I thought. And maybe, in fact, Frank Reich is a better coach than I had given him credit. I'm not saying he's a bad coach, Kevin. I'm saying somebody that looks at it and goes, the Colts are 5-5, but man, Frank Reich, now I think actually they should be, he's much better than a 500. You are what your record says you are. And the glimpses behind the curtain and the motivational tactics and bonding and video boards and all of those things that you see that make you think, see, this is what makes the Colts different. If you've seen Hard Knocks before, you know they apply in some form or fashion with every franchise. So by that, I'm saying, does watching what Frank Reich was doing, let me ask you this, Kevin, before we get into the update, does watching Frank Reich give you pause of being critical of the results of the coaching of Frank Reich?
No, I think we wouldn't be doing our job if we let that kind of creep into us. I think Chris Ballard and Frank Reich off the field are going to be virtually perfect in those areas. Like, when Chris Ballard took the job, if I were Chris Ballard, and maybe he did this, he needed to go to people in that Colts organization and say, what did Ryan Grigson do wrong?
Of course.
Why do you feel like Ryan Grigson did not succeed? And what did one of the things that people in that organization probably said? Locked himself in his room, rough around the edges, fans didn't get a chance to know him, no one really knew anything about him, blah, blah, blah. And so Ballard, smart individual, all right, I know that. We're going to do some things differently, you know? And Ballard is very smooth in general, so that probably helps his cause there. And Frank Reich as a human being is absolutely terrific. And again, top 5 human being I've ever come across. But I'm not going to let that influence what I think of him as a head coach. He's done a lot of good things in his 4 years, and there have been some things that he definitely has not done well. So fans might get caught up in the emotions of it a little bit more, but at least speaking for myself, Jake, I think I can watch these episodes and divide the human element to it all, and then when it's time to hold those individuals accountable, I think I can do it in a pretty accurate manner.
I think that all coaches and all organizations have their own private or individual belief tactics to motivate players to win games. They all have them, and all of them are very easy to be impressed by, and I'm not going to say snowed by, but to fall under the spell of. The reality is some of them work really well, and you got to have players. Some of them don't. And in the end, what I'm getting at is I think this is going to be a wonderful series to give people a glimpse, not just of the Colts, but of the NFL or professional sports in general and everything that goes into building a team. But at the same time, it is a results-driven business. And the results have to come with it, or else the means, there has to be in the end an end that justifies the means, or else the means are nothing more than an interesting sidebar.
Without a doubt. In the court of public opinion, though, Chris Ballard and Frank Reich are smart individuals. They know these next 2 months, even if things go off the rails, this 1 hour episode each week is going to paint them in a very promising light.
Well,
and it also helps them out with the big man upstairs.
When we had the camera crew come in here, okay, the Hard Knocks camera crew was in here, what was that, Monday?
Mm-hmm.
Did you, in any way, shape, or form in your subconscious, be honest, did you change your approach, or were you conscientious of that camera at any point?
Conscientious, yes. I really told myself before the red light came on to act normal.
Agreed, but you were aware it was there, right?
I mean, this studio's not very big, and so anytime there's multiple people in here, you know it.
Like the multiple times you wanted to say to me, look, man, get it together. We got a show to do here. You held off because there was a camera there, right?
Well, I probably have swallowed that too much here over the last couple of
okay, well, it's been 10 days. But my point being, you got to wonder how much that camera does in the back of their mind. Yeah, you know what? Like, I'm not saying it does.
To be fair, I think the meeting, and Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, the meeting room shots we saw last night, all of them hardwired cameras?
I would say for sure the Ballard, Scotty Montgomery for sure, and then the Frank Reich, the meeting stuff. Yeah, I'd say so.
I think they're all kind of up in a corner, Jake.
No,
so
I get it.
It's
but
not like there's 6 people carrying cables around the meeting rooms.
It's not like when I went to so what you're saying is actually it is like when I was in the Marion County lockup, and when they go to take your mugshot, all of a sudden they're like, look in the corner, and you look up and there's a camera, and it's like, and it takes your picture, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't even know that was there. But they got to know it's there, right? I wish I still had that picture.
Not like, this isn't like full-on paparazzi. Britney Spears has been freed from her father.
Fair enough.
You know.
TikTok videos yet to come. All right, it's time for a Big O Tire Sports Center update.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
All right, last night up in Detroit, not worst loss of the year? Yeah, I mean, I think that's very fair to say. The Pacers lose to the Pistons last night, 97-89. Rick Carlisle afterwards on the second straight loss for the Pacers to start the week.
We lost 3 out of 4 quarters, so really they were the ones that dominated the play. They were clearly the aggressors from the start. Throughout the game, we had a very good third quarter. Our aggression was better. Did some great things to build a 6-point lead, and then gave up dribble penetration, had some bad offensive possessions, and the thing got away from us.
We're going to have Scott Agnes on in about 10 minutes, Jake. I'm going to ask him because I didn't have the time to look it up last night, and the last time the Pacers have had maybe not even the Pacers, an NBA team had fewer than 90 points in consecutive games.
How about an NBA team that scored a grand total of 26 points over 2 fourth quarters?
Yeah, very hard to do.
I mean, Rick Carlisle, they beat us in 3 or 4 quarters. Well, I don't know. I'm not a mathematician, but that probably doesn't win you a lot of games.
No, I would say that's a fair statement. 24% from 3, 18 turnovers, half of those from Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner there. When Rick Carlisle brings up a hard play issue, that is a non-starter for me, and I think more of a glaring problem right now. Keelan Martin got his first start. I think water kind of found its level there. Jake, 1 of 7 with him in the starting lineup. Corey Joseph, revenge game for the Pistons coming off the bench. He had 18 points.
I always thought he was a nice player as a Pacer.
Agreed. I thought he was a really
solid player.
Nice 8-9 guy on a playoff team, which obviously Detroit is not that. At the Hornets tomorrow for the Pacers, the Pelicans on Saturday back at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. They are 6-10. Jake, they have 10 of 12 at home starting Saturday. Do not expect massive crowds, obviously, over at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. In order to get those crowds,
gotta win.
You look at 10 of 12 at home.
Gotta win.
What, 8-4 in that stretch?
9-3? You're up against it. The Pacers have a few things going against them in terms of their crowd that we've talked about real quickly. Number one, fewer people working downtown and already finding themselves downtown around 6:30, 7 o'clock. Number two, some people, not all, but some people that are still apprehensive of being in a closed environment, with COVID and whatnot. Number three, cost of tickets, renovations, etc., a little bit different. Number four, and most importantly, just overall ambivalence about this particular team. Nothing that really jumps out at you. At best, probably right now, a sub-500 team, but just running back, nothing is different than a year ago. You know what I mean? There's no, oh man, I got to go out and see that guy. Duarte's a nice player, no doubt, but I don't know that he's one that people are like, man, I got to go see that guy play, and he's not even playing right now. So they got a lot of things going against him. I just think Kevin Pritchard has a roster right now that lacks in one big area, which is on the wings, but also lacks just in terms of a style of play that is grabbing anybody at this point.
I could not agree more with that. Bloomington last night.
What is your T-shirt you're wearing there?
Reds.
That's a cool looking shirt.
Shop. This is a shop shirt.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Is that on discount with all the players they're shipping off?
Oh my gosh, boy! You talk about NIL stuff.
That actually came with the player. I don't know if you know that, Mark. You buy the shirt, they send you a player with it.
Player to be named later.
Right,
That's right.
I've got a walk-on for Hanover, actually. 76-74, IU beat St. John's last night. Very important game for the NCAA tournament resume. When you look at the non-conference schedule, there's not a lot of meat on there. So I just think this is a key game for IU to get. And Jake, I thought what stood out to me the most, St. John's, that was a hell of an effort in the second half.
It was.
They had one of their players get ejected. I thought that was questionable, to be honest with you.
It was.
And they punched, but IU countered, and it wasn't necessarily Trace Jackson-Davis or else. Like, you had other guys make those plays.
Indiana last night I think that was a microcosm of what we're going to see Indiana's formula be this year. Trace Jackson-Davis, you're going to get good play from, but excellent effort defensively down the stretch in particular. St. John's had some good players. But
God, that Champagne kid was
Champagne was really good, right? But 32 in the loss. But Indiana getting some good play from Tamar Bates, a young player that was anticipated they needed some good play from, finally getting some reliability at the point guard position and getting athleticism from Geronimo as well as Race Thompson. But going to have to improve their free throw shooting in the Big Ten if you want to consistently win and grind out games like last night.
52% from the line. Jake, they were 33% from three and still scored 76. Yeah. I agree with you. Those are obviously lingering issues, but the fact that you still scored 76 despite those numbers, I do think is impressive. Very ugly over at Hinkle last night. Michigan State 73, Butler 52. Worst loss in, I think, believe 3 decades at home for the Bulldogs. You don't say this often about Butler. They were outclassed.
Yes.
And I get they're missing some personnel, but this is an unranked Michigan State team that looked like it was Big Ten versus not even Big East. That was Big Ten Horizon League.
It is still a Michigan State team that I think probably will be making some noise in a couple of months, but they're not making noise just yet. And you're at home. You got to fare better.
Got to expect better.
Especially when you have the experience returning that Butler does.
28% from the floor there. Bryce Enzi got hurt, so the front court, which already I think lacks some skill, going to be tested here. They've got Maui coming up. Maui in Vegas, by the way. Notre Dame and Butler both in that tournament begins on Monday.
Have you been to Maui?
Yes.
Have you been to Vegas?
Yes, not my honeymoon.
Could there be any way that you were in Vegas and feel like you're in Maui? Unless you're at the pool at Mandalay Bay, maybe?
I was going to say, I don't. Outside of the drink prices probably being similar, I don't think that's the case.
One of the real things from Vegas where the thrill is gone is now that they've gone to just basically the coinless slot machines, you just don't hear the constant ding, 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 ding. Like you go to the casinos and it's quiet. I want the nonstop noise of the huge coins dropping.
You still get the smoker coughs going and all that stuff. You get that ambiance.
just the natural audio, Hard Knocks audio, just the natural. Can we get some Jim Irsay over the loudspeakers?
Can we get a Jim Irsay for those that are just joining us? Where have you been? Can we get Jim Irsay last night from? This was San Francisco, right after the Colts won.
Correct.
This is Jim Irsay leading and sounding. This is Freddie Mercury. Really, is what this is.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's right.
To an nth degree.
Well, I say we end with this, and you guys can follow me.
Follow me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on.
Okay.
We will rock you.
They're openly laughing.
We will rock you.
How many guys were doing that while not looking side to side?
Oh, my God. Like, what the...
I mean,
thank the Lord he pays our checks.
How many guys were doing that while not looking at the guy next to them like, what is happening?
It will be part of our show open moving forward, and it needs to be next week, Tampa Bay, right before kickoff. Can you imagine if Bruce Arians and Tom Brady start to hear that beat and they look up at the Jumbotron and see that? Colts by 40.
You're right. Although I'm hoping that they do. Again, it's I mean, it's the easiest to do in the world,
exactly.
right?
I can picture the Mighty Ducks scene, We Will Quack You. If you want to go off another remix there.
It was missing 2 beats. He was beat 1, yes, but then there's 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, you know.
I'm not going to act like I have some musical rhythm, but
I have none.
You would think Jim Irsay, given his musical background, might have a little bit more pitch in that moment. But, you know, locker room moment, emotions riding high. I don't know.
I would say he has more
of
a. I would say he has more of a musical enthusiasm than a musical background, right?
Fair. Michael Badgley going to remain the Colts kicker. We'll go over the injury report a little bit later. Some notable names on that as the Colts get to their second practice of the week later today.
Back to Scott Agnes, or back to the Pacers, I should say. Scott Agnes, Fieldhouse Files next. Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Dan versus Fan, sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings app. Use code 1075FAN to get in on all the action.
This year, our average client saved over $350 a month with an easy rate reduction refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
Light up the holidays with an unforgettable gift from Shane Company.
A dazzling mosaic ring covered with diamonds and blue sapphires. Because you really want to knock it out of the park this year.
Princess cut diamond solitaire earrings. Because you want her to have the very best.
A 14-karat gold Miami Cuban chain. Because he's the strongest link.
Come to Shane Company for the largest selection of classic gifts from hundreds of dollars to thousands. Unique fine jewelry made with natural diamonds, rubies, and sapphires selected for their beauty. We have the highest standards for quality and craftsmanship. Whether it's your first holiday together or you've shared a lifetime of love, your gift will be truly special. Visit our store or check out our online gift guide for memorable holiday gifts that'll be treasured for a lifetime. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Hey, this is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. And yes, it's true, I've used More Restoration on my home 3 separate times for a fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become a part of First On Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On Site. When you need help, call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On Site company.
Hey, JMV here for Mark Deedle, Realty, 317-755-4232. Again, 317-755-4232. Online, markdeedle.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L.com today. I know a lot of you are really fired up about wanting to get into the housing market. In fact, I just had talked to Mark about how it was going. And let me tell you this, you are not going to get the level of service and the guarantees, whether you're upgrading or downsizing, as you're going to get with Mark Deedle at Mark Deedle Realty. In fact, he's going to give you this guarantee. He's going to guarantee multiple offers in 3 days for full market value, or he is going to sell it for free. That's what I love. And no matter what you're doing in the housing market, he's going to get the job done right for you. That's Mark Deedle Realty today. 317-755-4232. 317-755-4232. That's markdeedle.com. Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L.com today.
For the first time in the history of Hard Knocks, HBO and NFL Films are teaming up for an in-season edition of the Emmy-winning sports reality franchise. Hard Knocks in season. The Indianapolis Colts follows the Colts as they navigate the challenges of an NFL season and battle for a spot in the playoffs. This is behind-the-scenes footage of your favorite team like you've never seen before. The docuseries is now streaming on HBO Max with new episodes Wednesdays at 10 p.m.
Dan Takich lays some knowledge.
I love when the Colts win. Quiddy Pay was good. The Colts were good, particularly in the first half. A little booing in the second half, don't blame you. But the Colts got the win, and this is what I am here for. I am here for wins. I am not here for drafts. I am not here for cap space. I am here for big, fat W's. And when the Colts get them, now it's 4 out of 5. I am here for that.
Dan Takich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Haven't talked a whole lot of Pacers so far today, by design after that performance last night. A little bit of Hard Knocks, obviously a big win in Bloomington as well. But one man that was focused on it in Detroit was Scott Agnes from Fieldhouse Files. He joins us every Thursday here on the Fan Morning Show / Kevin and Query. I will continue to say that, I think, for the rest of the existence of this show. And Scott joins us now. Good morning, Scott.
Yeah, good morning.
We threw this at Jake a little bit earlier. I was kind of hoping maybe you had already done this research so I didn't have to look it up. You know the last time an NBA team has not scored 90 points in back-to-back games?
I haven't seen that, but it probably wouldn't surprise me if it's this year, KB, because
really?
I looked it up. Only because you look around the league last night, there were like 11 games. 9 of them included at least one team under 100 points. So it's happening a lot more frequently than we're all used to right now for a number of factors, but probably most of all for how the game's being called and the physicality.
I guess I'm just going off of, I think I looked up last year, they only had one game, the Pacers, where they didn't score 90 points, and now you've had back-to-back, and obviously we can point directly to the fourth quarter for both of those.
Yeah. Really, it starts with the beginning of the game even, and I'm not one that's huge on great starts. Like, you don't need to be up by 15 points or something, but you want to look competent. You want to set the tone. What is this matchup going to be like for the opponent? And the first quarter has been just rough the last several games, but you're right. I remember the third quarter was the challenge of the first 5-6 games. Well, now it's that fourth quarter where they just go incompetent, really. I mean, I think they had 2 field goals against the Knicks, 6 against Detroit. The turnovers pile up. And this is a point, KB, where I wonder, where's that leadership? Remember, KP talked about it, and we didn't see it. And I'm not one to say, hey, we've taken a grand step. There's been a huge step in the first 3 weeks, and this guy's the leader. So I went back to that point even in my story from last night is, all right, so who's that leader now? Because I don't think we have seen it yet in these tense moments.
Scott, the Pacers have scored 26 total points in fourth quarters among their last 2 games, which is not enough, obviously, to win games. To your point, it feels to me like Indiana's issue is they don't know late in games who is I always call it the get the hell out of the way guy. There's always a guy in any game. You go to a pickup game at Lawrence North High School. There's one guy when the game's on the line that has the ball in his hands and basically has a look in his eyes like, everybody get the hell out of the way. I'm going to make a shot. Who is Indiana's get out of the way guy, and are they still trying to find it, thus too much standing around?
Yeah, I think the thing they try to relish is the fact that they don't have to lean on one guy. But you're right, in those tense moments when you just need a couple of buckets, that breakthrough, after missing 9 in a row, who is it? To me, it's Karis LeVert. But some would probably throw Malcolm Brogdon in that conversation. But I think it's easily one of those 2.
So with that, like LeVert in New York, I thought he played too excitable. Is this somebody who is just still trying to kind of get his feet wet, not only coming off injury, but with the guys he's on the floor with?
Absolutely, especially since returning from this injury the second time, because he hasn't looked comfortable entirely. And one thing that was interesting, Jake, when he returned, was Rick Carlisle was talking about the fact, and we're talking about Karis LeVert and his back is what has kept him out. Rick notably was talking about how they were trying to figure out ways where, he could be a little bit less physical or take less contact and fall down less often to kind of minimize the possibility. Well, I feel like when you do that, you kind of limit a player's game, although it makes sense. But, Karis just has not been the same, I don't think, this last week since his return. But give it some time. I don't think there's much of an excuse, though, in terms of personnel. Only because the key players he's on the court with for, his 30 minutes per game, they're mostly the same.
Scott Agnes from Fieldhouse Files joins us. Scott, a guy that I've been a little frustrated by this season as well, and I thought last night was a great opportunity for him. You're struggling offensively. No Chris Duarte. Isn't Jeremy Lamb supposed to be this 12-point microwave guy? He's not giving you anything on the defensive end of the floor. A night like last night, when you're in this offensive rut, he can be, I don't know if he can be a 18-point scorer, but he should be a guy, given his history in the league, a 10 or 12-point guy off the bench for you.
You're exactly right. Yeah, no disagreement there. And he just hasn't had a flow. He's been outplayed, in fact, by Keelan Martin, who got the start last night, which mostly allowed for Justin Holiday to then come off the bench and play where he's been more productive. But yeah, from last night, the only key shot that I remember from him is he hit a late 3, I think it was in the first half. Now maybe a jumper, and that was just about it. And so instead of getting that 12 points, or maybe one game you need him to go off for 15, 16. But it just has not been there. And ever since he went out with that ankle injury, he hasn't come back and looked exactly the same either. So I don't know what it is with him, but yeah, that has been a disappointment the last couple of weeks for sure.
Scott Agnes joins us here on Kevin and Query. It's 8:38 on a Thursday morning. And Scott, I thought in the press conference last night, it was either you or Pat Boylan asked Rick about the ball movement and that issue. And he very quickly did not want to go down that path. He really didn't want to talk about the offensive end of the floor at all. And he goes, no, not a ball movement issue, a hard playing issue. That has got to be a non-starter. I mean, when you have the talent issues that I think this team has in the backcourt and on the wing, and more importantly, when you have the health issues, if you have a hard playing problem, this season's going nowhere.
Yeah, then I don't know what to tell you. It's one thing, we can all understand injuries to a point, or a third quarter drought that just is awful, but it's a one-off game. But for them to have this kind of concern this week is definitely alarming. Because that's the thing that weak teams with no leadership, teams that have no chance in the playoffs are talking about, not what you would expect from a Rick Carlisle-led team or certainly from the Pacers here. And so, yeah, they have a real chance to try to start correcting it against Charlotte Friday as they kind of wrap up this early part of this road-heavy schedule. But that was the thing that stood out to me as well, KB. It was that, and then just the physicality. And whatever happened, as corny as it was, right, whatever happened to blue-collar gold swagger? Like, there's been none of that. They haven't been the ones that have been the tough team or set the tone for the game or been more physical. And it's been alarming now the last couple of weeks in particular. And as a direct reflection of that, their free throw rate's awful. They're getting outscored almost every game at the free throw line. And, those are a couple key things they got to correct.
Scott, I feel like, I almost have this, like, internal dichotomy in terms of my train of thought here, because part of me thinks, the Pacers' problem in terms of their attendance and everything else is they're just not very exciting. There's nothing overly flashy or likable about them. And then the other side of me thinks, well, it's not that. We do this every year. It's still like the weather is just now turning. People aren't conditioned to the fact that, NBA season is here. And to a lot of people, the NBA season doesn't even begin in terms of their train of thought until Christmas Day, when there's like the quadruple header and the football season is waning off. Which is it? Do the Pacers have an interest problem, or is this something we go through every year?
I think it's something we go through every year, but it's also not just a Pacers problem, Jake. Around the league and sports, all over are dealing with this. And yes, attendance has been a problem, but I think it's more it's a lot more than just one or two items. It starts obviously with winning. You put a winning product out there, you're going to get people to show up. But the other thing is, I think COVID and everyone that has kind of reconditioned everybody to, hey, look, I can watch the game at home and it doesn't cost me anything, and and there's no lines at the bathroom and stuff like that. I think
Scott, like I've had people point out to me, more than just one have said to me, oh, it's the politics. I don't like the politics in the NBA. And I'm like, and I get that, but I'm like, the politics exists in the NFL, and there are still NFL players kneeling, and yet you don't hear about that anymore, and it doesn't seem to have hurt NFL attendance. And from an NBA standpoint, I mean, Texas, Florida, and Utah are in the top 7 in attendance, and those are states, certainly from a voter standpoint, that would appear to not be into the politics of the NBA. So, to me, part of it is an issue, would you agree, that fewer people are going downtown, right? Like, people aren't getting off work at 6:30 in the Salesforce Tower. They're getting off work at 6:30 in their basement in Fishers.
But aren't there other arenas around the league you could say that about as well that are located downtown? Like, wouldn't other markets have that issue? I think it's a little bit more Indiana-centric than just...
I don't know. I mean...
I don't know where every NBA arena is, but you would think other markets would have a similar problem.
Let me look at Phoenix.
This season there have been attendance is down across the league. I haven't done the exact numbers just yet, but I am going here to do it soon. But I think there is also, Jake, a little bit of apathy as well, and the fact I know a lot of people have talked about it too. In this factor is the non-TV, not being able to watch it for many people, and then an out of sight, out of mind. And we've seen this show many times before, so I think that also plays a factor. But you're right. The fact that people aren't going to dinner and then going to the game as much, that's something I think that needs to be corrected. Because while attendance isn't what it will be later in the season, it's down probably at least a couple thousand from at least what I would expect right now.
I mean, Phoenix, which has an arena right in their downtown, right in the hub of downtown, and right now is on a 10-game win streak, coming off an NBA Finals, 23rd out of 30 in attendance. I'm not saying it's the sole factor, but it has to be a factor, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's obviously a lot deeper issue than probably what we have time for right now. Scott, before we let you go, I did want to end on a positive. Could you kind of fill us in on Isaiah Jackson's day yesterday? I know the rookie from Kentucky took a big step.
Yeah, he did. So it had been 3 weeks since he hyperextended his left knee up in Toronto. and part of his rehab plan. And quite frankly, they had planned on him playing anyway with the Matt Angelis to play with them. And so they were at Gamebridge Fieldhouse, and he had a big night. I think 24 points in 21 minutes. Looked good. Huge third quarter. But just a nice positive step to hopefully get back and rejoin the Pacers here probably next week.
Scott Agnes, again, Fieldhouse Files, Pacers. Scott, bottom line is the medicine, I guess, is coming their way because there are going to be a bunch of home games that they want to get some footing, but it's going to have to come soon here for Indiana.
You're exactly right. Yep. Thanks, Jake.
Scott Agnes, appreciate it. Payless Liquor Hotline. When we come back, Hard Knocks last night, including some news about a guy that I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I'm going to ask you, Kevin, for a correct pronunciation, and we'll play some more Jim Irsay. It's all coming up here, Kevin Aquari.
Fall in Indy. And for 20 years, Rhino Shield's been covering Indiana homes like your neighbor Elsie.
My husband had been reading about Rhino Shield. We were just impressed.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
And we had our all the trim and everything done. And they even did the ceiling of our front porch.
Indianapolis fall just got better. Celebrate Rhino Shield covering Indiana homes for 20 years for 20% off the regular price.
Oh my, it looked brand new. Saves us painting, and we get compliments even today about how nice it looks and everything.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
All right, the NFL season has given us a big Week 11 divisional matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and Seattle Seahawks, and FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger because FanDuel's giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. So it sounds like the Cardinals are getting Kyler Murray back, so I'll take Arizona to get back on track and drown out the 12th man in Seattle this weekend. But you could feel different and go that way. FanDuel is sports betting made simple. They're always hooking up with great offers like this one. Plus, they're the #1 rated sports app in America, and their app is safe, secure, and easy to use. And you win, you get your winnings in as little as 2 hours. If you're already a FanDuel Sportsbook user, FanDuel is hooking all customers up with $50 when you refer a friend. Plus, your friend will get $50 as well. So sign up with promo code MARK this week before the Cardinals take on the Seahawks, and you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Just remember to use promo code MARK, M-A-R-C. 21 and over and present in Indiana. New users only, $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
We've done it again.
While other lenders are talking about raising their rates, our expert team at Golden Oak Lending has dropped rates even lower.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With the low rate of 1.875% and home values at all-time highs, you can get more cash out of your home or eliminate pricey mortgage insurance.
Call 317-706-GOLD today to get your refinance started within minutes and make no mortgage payments until next year.
After all, our team speaks mortgage and loves translating it for customers. We can save you even more money with our 1.875% rate.
Plus, you'll never pay up front for your appraisal at Golden Oak. Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 1.875% fixed, 2.952% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
A new season, a new QB, a new look. Football is back. And so are Bud Light Blue Fridays. Every week, join JMV beginning at 3 for cold Bud Lights, Colts football talk, and your chance to win tickets to Colts games.
Join me, JMV, this Friday at Broad Ripple Tavern for your chance at Buccaneers tickets.
JMV, Bud Light, and you. Doing it for the shoe.
I'll see you this Friday at Broad Ripple Tavern.
Denny Smith here. Celebrate the most magical time of the year with Sundown Gardens this Saturday and Sunday to sip, see, and shop. Their gift shop is full of winter decor, terrific gift ideas, plus the greenhouses are full of fresh-cut Christmas trees, wreaths, and roping. Light refreshments, 20% off all ornaments, and register for a $200 gift certificate and other prizes. Wine tasting from noon to 5 on Saturday. All One Hope wine orders benefit the Westfield Chamber Scholarship Fund. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
Good news, Indy. If competitive compensation, consistent schedules, and multiple career paths all matter to you, it's time to apply for a career with Geico. Geico is hiring claims, sales, and customer service agents. Apply online today at geico.jobs/Indianapolis.
It's championship weekend at Marian University. The Knights take on Southwestern College in the first round of NAIA football playoffs at 1:05 p.m. Then stick around for a women's volleyball playoff at 6. It's all happening this Saturday only at Marian University. Go Knights!
The Pacers travel to Charlotte to play the Hornets tomorrow evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, Zach Kiefer join us here in about 10 minutes. Kevin Bowen and Jake Query on Kevin and Query here, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. Recap a little Hard Knocks from last night. Jake, I think one of the things that you will find, and you probably don't need Hard Knocks to really know this, but just seeing some of it, especially the raw emotion of it, it is a reminder of how self-motivated of an individual Darius Leonard is. There's a moment late in the Jacksonville game where first he was mic'd up for the game, so he gets hurt during the game, so I think that's kind of just some cool audio of him really beat up on the field. They also had his wife mic'd up, and she sees him get hurt while she's kind of following her daughter around, or their daughter around, outside of the suite, and I thought that was kind of a unique moment as well. But Leonard, before they go back on the field for that final drive, is literally pacing up and down the sideline saying, you know, you're the best defensive player in the league. You're number 53. You go make a play right now. I think it's like kind of like those things that I think as a fan, you love.
I don't disagree. I do wonder how much of that is because a guy knows he's mic'd up. I don't think in the case of Darius Leonard, that's...
No, I think Leonard's a unique... I think he's just...
You know, I think Darius
Leonard... He's
Leonard,
wired differently.
I think Darius Leonard is still fueled by the fact that he went to South Carolina State. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he is a guy that has been the proverbial underdog, even where he was drafted, you know, the whole everything about him. Now, one of the things that I'm curious about, and I know you wanted to talk about this guy, the school in Cincinnati that is key rival to the University of Cincinnati, Thad Matta coached there, David West played there, and they're the Musketeers. You pronounce that school how?
Xavier.
I've heard, we've had this happen with different players over the years. I remember when Antoine Bethea was Antoine Bethea forever, then he was Antoine Bethea, and then he was Antoine Bethea again. I think that's how it went. We've talked about Bobby Okereke, who's now Bobby Okereke, right? Even though on Monday Night Football, he introduced himself as Bobby Okereke. Obviously, that was taped a long time ago. Xavier Rhodes or Xavier?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I've heard it both ways.
Right. I think I've heard it both ways as well. Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, defensively speaking, X factor or guy that is on his way being phased aside?
Yeah, I would not put him in the lineup if he's healthy on Sunday. You know, you go back, and I get it, kicker's different than cornerback. You can substitute at corner. You don't sub at kicker, you know, during a game, things like that. But, you know, when Frank Reich says that this happens, and he's referring to Rodrigo Blankenship getting hurt, a guy coming in, a guy performing well, that being Michael Badgley, and so you stick with that guy. That's what the Colts are doing right now at kicker. I look at corner, and I think the same sort of practice should be followed here. Xavier Rhodes has been inconsistent. He's been hurt. And I think both Rock Ya-Sin and Isaiah Rodgers have shown you a little bit of something. So, Rhodes is back to practice yesterday, and I don't think this is just here's our veteran cornerback who played well for us last year. Injuries start to pile up. You get on the wrong side of 30. I don't think that is a job that he just automatically gets back.
Yeah, that's fair. And I do think, you know, Frank Reich has been very open about the fact from the kicker position, hey, we're going to go with the hot hand, you know, the hot guy. I think kicking, Kevin, I mentioned it earlier, is a much more psychological position where you need and there is a necessity for really psychologically speaking. I mean, have you ever played, I'll say the correct term, billiards or pool? You ever play pool?
For sure.
You ever just been in a zone?
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden, like one night,
I think so.
I mean,
Right.
one night you're just like, oh my gosh, like, or basketball-wise, pick up basketball. You ever been in a zone where, like, just on one particular night in a pickup game,
I'm making the cue ball dance.
Everything's dropping, and you're like, this is not. I mean, from a kicker standpoint, like when you get into that zone, you are not overly thinking, and you're just going through the motion, and everything's going your way. I think from a kicker standpoint, they start to overthink it if things are not going well, and if you have a guy that is on a hot streak, you got to ride that. It's goaltenders in hockey are the prime example. I mean, the Florida Panthers went to the Stanley Cup Finals based on John Van Beesbrook just being red-hot goalie for the postseason, and all of a sudden their game completely elevates because you can ride a hot goalie. I think you can ride a hot kicker.
I also think corner can be a bit mental, too.
To an extent, but I don't know that as much. I think corner is as much.
If you don't trust yourself physically, now do you trust
that's
yourself?
true.
And I think that's where you get into the thing with Rhodes right now is he has not been hurt often in his career, but I think inevitably when a player reaches that age and you play a position where one little nick, I think corner, if you're a little banged up, you get exposed in a hurry. That concerns me. And right now, that's one part of it for me, Jake. The other part of it, again, is I think Rock Ya-Sin and Isaiah Rodgers have shown me enough to say, let's continue to see them in the lineup. They're going to face much better passing offenses the next couple weeks, but I think they deserve the opportunity.
Yeah, I will say from a corner standpoint, you know, that is a position where if you are a player, there really are, this is probably true of receiver as well, you are playing based on, you just have a natural athleticism, and then, or you are playing because you have a great feel at corner on when to make jumps and that kind of thing, or you have great technique. If the first is the case, if you are a guy who your athleticism, and there have been guys that we've seen in the league that they were at corner, they were, quote, shut down corners just because their athleticism allowed them to always be in the right spot. Those are the guys, Kevin, that the fall off in receiver, it happens as well. It is a cliff that they fall off of because as soon as that step goes away, then they're having to make up for that by taking chances that otherwise they were just automatically always there. And now they're leaping at chances and putting themselves in bad position. So I think at corner and receiver are the two spots where if you are somebody who has been getting by on sheer athleticism, or that's what's predicated you for so long, that's the first to get exposed when it goes away and you're in a world of hurt and you're chasing it.
Again, Rhodes was limited at practice yesterday, so he did participate. There were several guys on the did not participate list, pretty notable names, and really the Colts have not had that in a few weeks, so we'll hit on that a little bit later. In Buffalo, a couple of key injuries with their run defense, so that could be huge for Jonathan Taylor on Sunday.
Zach Kiefer's coming up to join the program as well. And Pop Quiz, 35 minutes from now, it is Kevin and Query.
This week, the Colts head east to Buffalo. Now let's see Jacksonville beat the Bills. We beat Jacksonville.
23-17 is our final score.
So we like our chances. The Colts look to avenge last year's playoff loss to Buffalo on Sunday. Our coverage starts at 10 a.m.
It's a block punt picked up by the Colts.
Matt Taylor with the kickoff at 1 o'clock.
It's a touchdown for the Colts.
Your home for Colts football is 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Get to CarX today. Buy 2 tires, get 2 tires for free with the purchase of our premium installation package. Receive an additional $70 on the purchase of Continental tires. CarX Tire and Auto online. CarX.com today.
Well, Ryan Kelly is the home loan expert. You can get a hold of him at 317-550-1515 or go to thehomeloanexpert.com. And as a customer of Ryan Kelly myself, I send people to you. Ryan's on the phone right now. Ryan, I send people to you, especially the military folks, because this hero loan is absolutely sensational.
Absolutely. And thank you for all the referrals. Thank you for sending folks over, personal friends, listeners on the station, all of that. I mean it. Thank you very much. We will always take great care of our clients. And when you talk about Hero Loan, it's a really big deal to us at the office. That's why we created it. VA loans are some of the best out there. Interest rates are generally a full point lower than other loans. You can buy a house with zero money down And if you're thinking about a cash-out refinance on the VA loan, you can go up to 100% of that appraised value. Get the loan you deserve today and close it in as little as 14 days. The next VA loan at HeroLoan.com. Thanks, Big Joe.
This is how we reinvent banking.
Say the money's gone tight in your checking account. Then you crack your phone and the screen goes out. No shame in your game. We got the assist. Huntington Bank, lending money with a twist. Come to us for extra cash when you're strapped, cause it's free when you auto pay it back. Introducing Standby Cash. Extra cash when you need it, free when you auto pay it back. Huntington, welcome.
Without automatic payments, 12% APR. Eligibility requirements apply. Amount available is based on customer eligibility. Learn more at huntington.com/standbycash.
Here's what's happening with the Fan.
It's another Bud Light Blue Friday this week. Drink ice cold Bud Light and sign up for your chance to win Colts tickets as JMV broadcasts live. Visit 1075thefan.com to see where we'll be next. Bud Light, brewed for the Colts and their fans. Live from Pearl Street Pizzeria this Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m. Join JMV as he broadcasts for Larceny Locks and Lunazool Shots. Come listen to the Larceny Lock and enjoy some Lunazool Shots.
For more info, click on 1075thefan.com.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
The Colts look to avenge last year's playoff loss in Buffalo when they face the Bills. Coverage Sunday morning at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan. It's Kevin and Query.
Speaking of rivals, my good friend Tom Brady is here tonight. By the time he is inducted...
On 93.5
baby!
107.5, The Fan.
Well, I say we end with this, and you guys can follow me.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on.
What song?
We will rock you.
We will rock you. I almost woke up my daughter laughing at that scene last night from Hard Knocks. Jake, when you first heard the beat, where did you think? I thought rugby match haka. And again, I don't know if that's the right term, but that's where I thought he was going.
I still don't hear. I mean, it is the most elementary beat in music. Like, it's a 1, 2, 3 count.
I hope Hard Knocks comes back in here to get that.
It's not a one count. And you could tell.
I need my recorder playing Hot Cross Buns.
Again, I want I would love to see a hidden camera wide scope of the locker room to see how many players aren't looking around. Like, what is going on here? It's pretty awesome.
And we're about to have Zach Kiefer on from The Athletic. My nephew went to his first Colts game a few weeks ago. And my brother-in-law sent a video late on that Sunday night of him in his bed, 5 years old, chanting, "We will rock you," to himself.
Nice.
Just like a hilarious, cool, hilarious moment. And I'm watching that last night thinking to myself, gosh, Teddy Lovers, he's so much more on beat than
I've gone down this rabbit hole many times, Kevin, but the reality is "We Will Rock You" by Queen might be the most up-to-date song on the Colts playlist at Lucas Oil Stadium. Like, it's better than, at least he didn't
Jack
go
and
with
Diane into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, or Bang on the Drum All Day and Taking Care of Business. I went to a Colts game like in '96, and they had BTO live on the sidelines. They were playing the Ravens on, I think it was Thursday Night Football, and BTO, who does Taking Care of Business, was live at the RCA Dome. And literally, like every other timeout, they're just like, "Let's go back down live to BTO." And they just kept playing the same Taking Care of Business song. And I just remember thinking to myself, and this was back when, it was like, oh man, and my fear has been, and I don't think this is going to be the case, Kevin, because of Carson Wentz, but I think people forget how much this franchise has been, like all franchises in the NFL, when you don't have the franchise quarterback. You are annually grasping at straws of, this is the guy. I'm telling Jim Harbaugh, like, this is the guy. Don Majkowski, this is the guy. No, really. Paul Justin looks really good. Kelly Holcomb, this is the guy. Gary Hogeman this is the guy. Chris Chandler looks really good. Listen, the way that they're getting good play right now out of Mark Herman that's definitely the guy, just nonstop, right? And when that takes place, you find yourself in the crowd saying, well, I guess we'll just go back to BTO on the sidelines, because there was you had to do anything to captivate and interest the audience. Fortunately, we're not there anymore.
I was going to say, I do think Wentz is a pretty entertaining product. You can debate him maybe.
I think he's going to be here
on
a while,
the elite
yes.
level, but I do think he's entertaining to watch. Zach Kiefer been on hold for quite a while. Zach, sorry you had to listen to all that.
Man, Jim Irsay, We Will Rock You, Mark Herman, that was quite the trip, Jake.
Well, let me tell you something.
An oral history of the last 40 years in Indianapolis right there.
But what I'm saying is, Zach, there was a time when Jim Irsay performing We Will Rock You would have had to have been the key thing to get people to come out to watch the Colts, because if it wasn't that, it was Zoop lifting Tonka trucks out front, and you had to get people interested. But let's get to Hard Knocks. Was that the pinnacle moment of entertainment, or was there more interesting stuff to you, Zach Kiefer?
No, it's not even close. Are you kidding me? Jim Irsay leading We Will Rock You in the locker room after they won that rainy game in San Francisco was by far the most entertaining moment of an otherwise pretty average episode. I don't think there was anything particularly revealing. It was a good look at Carson Wentz off the field, a good look at Darius Leonard off the field. But give me Jim Irsay in the locker room all day. I'm with you, Jake. In a perfect world, I have a panoramic of the entire locker room, because the longtime Colts are going to be unfazed, right? They know this stuff happens every week. It's just what the deal is with Jim Irsay. But the new Colts, and I saw Eric Fisher, he seemed to get into it, but the new Colts, I would have loved to see some of their faces.
Oh,
I love Jonathan Taylor moving out of the camera shot. I think he knew full well. He's like, oh boy, I don't want to be caught in the background of this. Zach Kiefer from The Athletic joins us. And Zach, I think the Hard Knocks episodes, like you just said, I didn't learn, whatever. There wasn't anything earth shattering. And for you or I, that's not what these episodes are for. They are for attracting new fans. I think the diehards, trying to even touch a little bit into maybe some things that they don't necessarily know about. If you had to put yourself maybe in the common fan seat, what would have you found in particular interesting about last night?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Ryan Kelly smile that much in my entire life. in the 5 minutes he was in the episode, he smiled more than in the 5 years I've been around him in the locker room and around the team. Look, some of these guys, they're a little bit different off the field. I think Ryan Kelly, that speaks to it. A lot of them are going to be, soon-to-be dads, new dads. That's a different dimension that we get to see at the facility every day. I thought Darius Leonard giving the team trainers and scouts a hard time for being undervalued was the most Darius Leonard moment of all time. He thinks even people in his own organization are discounting him, and that is so Darius. But yeah, for the diehards, for the casual fans, it kind of adds a third dimension to these guys, right? You see them on Sundays, you see them on your fantasy lineup. They're kind of just these players, and these guys are dudes that come home and want to just play with their kids. And I forget that sometimes, and I'm around this team all the time. But this, I think at the end of the day, I don't think this is going to be a super controversial, sexy series of Hard Knocks like we've had in the past with Rex Ryan's Jets or the Cowboys or whatever. These are good dudes. They're good guys. They really value their family. They want to win really badly. I don't think you're going to have any viral moments, but I think it's going to be a really intimate look at how a season works from behind the scenes. There will be, I've heard there's going to be some stuff in there that's really cool to see behind the scenes. We just didn't really get a lot of it last night.
Zach, open disclaimer, as I said earlier, I'm a cynic, but I'm under the assumption that any franchise in any sport in the United States, the fans of that team are convinced that their team is more family-based and more scrupulous than other franchises, and that's what sets them apart. Is that me being overly cynical, or do you think there's some truth to that?
I think it's both. I think you're being a little bit overly cynical. I do think the Colts are pretty solid. And I'm trying to think, there's not a lot of guys I wouldn't want to talk to in the locker room. And I've covered this team for 8 years now, and that's not always been the case. There have been some bad apples in the past. And maybe those bad apples help you win, right? Maybe that you need that a little bit on Sunday. But I'm telling you, to a man, this is probably as good of a locker room in terms of guys that I've had in the 8 years I've been here.
I would agree. I know Jake has mentioned earlier he thinks the character card is something that's played in every sports city.
Well, I just think what we find.
I think you're right.
But guys, what I'm saying is this: I don't disagree with or discount what you're saying, and certainly you guys are more intimately around and have been the locker room than I. I mean, no question. I think what happens is more often than not, when something does go wrong, the first thing we say is, in reality, we really don't know these guys. Now, granted, to your point, Zach, this helps get to know those guys, right? I mean, you are correct. But in reality, oftentimes, what happens? I mean, I remember, what was the kid's name, the guy's name that was the rugby player, Daniel Adongo?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what a great story, Cinderella story. Yeah, it was all great until he held his wife underneath the water in the bathtub for 30 minutes and then threw her on a bed of guns. And then it was like, okay, maybe we didn't know him that well.
Now, to be fair, that's not under this regime.
Understood.
I think, and Zach, feel free to chime in here. I can't recall the last player I've seen at the bottom ticker of ESPN for an off-season arrest.
There were a lot in Kansas City.
But again, not under necessarily his watch. Yes, Chris Ballard's a part of those draft processes, but here in Indianapolis, and again, some people might not care at all about this. Some people will be like, screw Community Tuesdays.
Right.
All I care about is winning. But I'm just saying, when you're talking about the character of these individuals, Frank Wright and Chris Ballard, there have not been many, if any, bad apples to the degree that we've seen in Las Vegas or some other places.
I just think in the end, I think it's a great thing to me, character for the NFL in the draft process is, and Zach, you tell me if you think I'm way off base here. It's like the SATs. When I was in high school, you later learned that the SAT was not what got you into college, but it was a really nice tiebreaker to get you in to get accepted. I think character is not necessarily the 100% thing that gets you drafted in the NFL, but it can be a nice tiebreaker if it's between you and another player. Is that fair, Zach?
Yeah, and this is a really interesting topic, and I've had a really long debate about this with Brian Decker, who's the former military guy who's basically a character coach, right? He has a big play in how they draft guys, and he has a big say in the mental makeup of these guys, and it's part of the reason why they have drafted so many good guys, good human beings. Now, my counter to that, and maybe I'm being cynical here, but I think I'm right, don't you need a couple, for lack of a better term, assholes? Don't you need?
I would agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah. You need a couple screw loose guys.
Brian on the practice field in August, and he's like, we're going to find out. I think we can do it without those guys. But look, I mean, you need some, and I mean, going back to the previous regime, which is what we always do here, and I mean the Manning days. The quarterback was kind of that, right? I mean, even his former teammates will tell you that playing with Peyton wore them down, but there was a standard and there was all that went with it. And you can make that argument that they need some of those guys. And we'll see. Frank Reich and Chris Ballard, they deserve some time to see how these draft picks play out. But I do think you need a little bit of attitude. And maybe that's what's missing in these close games. Maybe I just stumbled upon the answer to all the problems.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to the Peyton story you hear about Super Bowl week of, hey, Tony Dungy or whoever says in front of the team, families can stay on the player's floor, and Peyton says,
no, get them out by 8.
Hell no, families are not staying on the player's floor and whatnot. Zach Keefer from The Athletic joins us. His latest is on Quiddy Pay. We'll ask him about that here in just a sec. But Zach, something Jake and I were talking about last segment. Obviously, Michael Badgley is going to remain as the Colts kicker, even though Hot Rod is healthy enough to kick. Do you think the same sort of formula should or will apply with Xavier Rhodes in the cornerback situation right now?
Yes, and I'm glad you asked. You cannot preach competition and production and then not live it. And I think they learned their lesson a couple years ago when they stuck with the kicker who wasn't making kicks. And I know it's different when you're talking about the best to ever do it, but Adam Vinatieri lost them games that season, and they stuck with them, and they were stubborn, and it cost them in a big way. If they had gone back to Hot Rod this year, that would have been a hard sell. Badgley has not missed. He's been really good, and even Rod. I mean, we're going back to Buffalo on Sunday, and that's the site of, I think he missed a 33-yarder in the playoff game.
Right off the upright.
Talking about yesterday, the 3 or 4 plays that he can, rattle off the top of his head that cost them. So, look, you got to stick with Badgley because he's won the job. And if you go back to Xavier Rhodes, it makes absolutely no sense in the world to me. It's not like Xavier Rhodes is playing poorly but hustling, right? I mean, Rodgers is going to get beat from time to time, but he makes up for it with his hustle. He's got way more speed. Rhodes is a black hole out there. I mean, he's just going to get diced up by any quarterback they see. And who's coming to town next week? You don't think Tom Brady's going to absolutely target 27 all day long in the passing game? I just feel like you've got to play the guy that's giving you effort and production regardless of contract status or where he was drafted or where he started the season on the depth chart.
Zach, if I want to go back to the kicker thing real quick, and I'm in agreement with both you guys. I mean, I don't think Rodrigo Blankenship just comes back when he's healthy and automatically has his job. What do they do with him? Do they just keep him on IR? Do they flat out release him? Do they put him on the practice squad and hope no? I mean, do they run the risk of losing him? What is the future there?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I was kind of told a couple of weeks ago that when Rod got hurt, the team basically told him, this is your job when you get back. Get healthy. We'll wait for you. We want it to be totally healthy for the stretch run. Obviously, things have changed. That's the nature of the game, right? If someone comes in and takes your job, then you're out. I don't know what they do because I think there's teams out there that would take Rod. I think there's teams that would pick him up if he would have hit the waiver wire if he was released. That's the risk you're going to have to take, right? But I don't think you lose a lot of sleep over that. Like if you lose Blankenship, like has he been that good? I mean, I think he's been pretty good, but I don't think it's a guy you can't live without right now. And moving forward, that's just going to have to be the risk you take.
For now, they are keeping him on IR for what it's worth. And again, how long will that last? We'll have to see. But I think ideally you'd put him on your practice squad. But as we know, teams are pretty desperate for kickers, so I don't know how long that would last. Zach, before we let you go, your latest on Kwity Paye. F it, it's time to play. That was a quote that Kwity had last week about his hamstring injury.
Now, did he say just the letter, or did he say the thing and Zach had to censor?
I think he said F it, right, Zach?
No, so he did the first day, and then I talked to him solo the next day, and I asked him essentially the same question, and he did say, he said, he didn't say F it this time, he said the full word.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
And he went into a little bit more.
Wait till Mom hears that one.
He's changed his stance, like he's lowering his butt, so the hamstring pressure isn't as severe. He basically just said, like, look, they need me, I'm a first-round pick, I got to play. And he's played much better the last couple of weeks, and I think the genesis is really just like, okay, they need pass rush however they can get it, and they need hurries, and he's got to play. And if they don't have any pass rush, I don't think the secondary is good enough to hold up, and that's really I think that's what's going to decide the next couple of weeks is against Josh Allen and against Tom Brady.
Look,
can you get to these guys?
Zach, that combo moving forward of Kwity and Dio potentially could be a lot of fun for a long time.
Oh, Jake's on the train now.
I am.
Okay. This must be they must be turning you.
I believe in character. No, I think both of them have shown it's very early, right? I mean, a couple
Dio
games
was a good interview earlier this week.
He was cool. But no, I just think that look, they're obviously both great stories. There's no doubt about that. But I do think that the burst is there. I mean, I think that there is, you can see why they were selected where they were. And I'm not a scout, but that is my on the couch observation of it.
And I want to get your guys' takes on this. So really, the gamble was patience, right? Ballard was willing to be patient. Now, was the fan base, were the coaches, because you need pass rush. They didn't have it the first 6 or 7 weeks. I think the callers into your guys' show are probably pissed off because they didn't have any pass rush. They let Autry go. He's having a great year. They let Houston go. This was always going to be the play, right? They were going to live with these guys. And if you sign Autry, then you got to play Autry. Then Kwity Paye doesn't play, right? And he doesn't develop. So that's sort of the gamble that you made, that you're not going to have as much of the pass rush for probably most of 2021. But you can see it in both of these guys.
Right.
And forget the character for a minute. These guys can play, and I think they could be special. We'll see, but you're starting to see glimpses of it.
But there's a difference. You can buy yourself some patience from the fan base when a guy is obviously coming off of injury, because it's like, well, let's see what he can do, as opposed to this is a project we're taking in the second round. Who was the kid out of Clemson, the TJ Green? Eventually he's going to learn to play the position. And then, no, I want a guy that knows how to play the position. His body isn't letting him do it right now, but I'm going to give more patience to that. I'm going to give more benefit of the doubt to that.
Yeah, I thought they made a mistake back in March and not re-signing Autry or going after some veteran rusher, because I think you can find a little happy medium there, Zach. They rotate so many bodies up front, and unfortunately, it's not like the Tyquan Lewis injury is out of the blue. He's had injuries in his career, so I just think banking on him or Toure staying healthy, that's kind of like banking on Paris Campbell staying healthy almost.
Yeah, and to your point, Jake, you can buy patience and you can buy belief if these guys really play well down the stretch, right? If they have a couple more sacks, if they have some more strip sacks, whatever, that tells people that, okay, it was hard, we had to wait, there was not a lot of production for a while, but the future looks pretty bright at a position that you've really missed on since Chris Ballard got here. I don't need to go through the names, but they have really struggled to land pass rushers.
By the way, in conclusion, here you go. Kevin, Zach, you ready? We're going to play a game. What is this right here? You ready? That's Jim Irsay whistling Patience from Guns N' Roses, right? That's what that is.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Just the one note. Come on, guys. Follow my lead. Zach Kiefer at The Athletic. And again, the Quiddy Pay profile there as well. Zach, appreciate it as always.
Thanks, guys. That was fun.
All right, Zach Kiefer from The Athletic.
Quiddy Pay changed his stance, like a rookie showing veteran moves. Maybe Jim Irsay will change his tune next time he gets the opportunity.
Come on, guys. We're going to do Patience. If you've got the patience for the pop quiz, give us a call right now at 239-1070 because it's next.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
I didn't know you had. Did you have to go pee? I thought you were just.
Well, you know what? In all honesty, I don't know if you saw me move there.
Yeah, it looked like you were.
Are
you feeling it? The booster?
No, but I did get the booster yesterday. But no, I have really tight hamstrings. I know that's like TMI, but I started to get a cramp there.
Oh.
And I'm like, you know what? I need to walk down the hall because my hamstring. I remember one time.
This is Quiddy Pay right now.
Totally. It's power of suggestion from Zach. We were on the couch one time and I got a muscle cramp. I got a Charlie horse. This was like 4 years ago. And Shannon did not know what to do. And she's like, I thought you were having a heart attack. And then I actually did have a full heart attack. So I got to, we got to do a compare and contrast.
Exactly what every couple should go through.
I think I'm having a heart attack.
Let me tell you something. A Charlie horse sucks, but the Widowmaker far worse.
I was going to say, well, for that hamstring, let me tell you about QC Kinetics one time.
My apologies that I forgot to throw to I'm still the new guy.
I got thrown off anyway because you did the one tone for Patience, and I thought of Winds of Change, so I was totally thrown off.
My apologies. I've screwed the whole thing up here.
Frank Reich says, why not us? He was the head coach talking about a jumbled AFC right now and his belief that his Colts will get hot and make some noise in January.
That's just how I feel, you know what I mean? And, I didn't go into the team meeting saying, hey, it's here for our team. I think everybody knows that. I mean, this 1-0 thing is not just a mantra. I mean, it really is all that matters. So it's a week-to-week league. But as the head coach, you have to think big picture sometimes, and I really believe we have the guys to do that. So it's not easy. Nothing about it is. So, we have an opportunity, though, before us, and this is a good opportunity we have this Sunday.
Man, I wish we still had the Chuck Pagano cliche bell. Could have used it there.
A lot of them in there. We'll get into this more tomorrow, Jake, but I do think one thing that could benefit the Colts here in this end of the season is obviously you have to win games to get in the playoffs. But in this stretch, if you do win games, you're going to beat pretty good football teams,
Correct.
and that can give you some confidence.
Correct.
And again, I know it's a little bit too big picture, but I do think that is a benefit from this end of the season. Injury report from yesterday, some notable names on it. Darius Leonard did not practice due to an ankle and hand injury. Brought this up earlier, but just a reminder, I see hand, Jake, I think to myself, that's a linebacker that needs a tackle, and that's a dude that has punched the football out better than anyone in the NFL. That is concerning to me, along with the ankle being aggravated on Sunday.
Yeah, listen, the reality, Darius Leonard at 90% is probably better than a lot of linebackers at 100%. But for the most part, Kevin, for this time of year, and again, key thing here, they still have the bye-up coming. So they're going to get an opportunity.
Yeah, 4 weeks away.
It's a ways away, granted, but I know there are going to be nicks and concerns, but they're as healthy right now for mid-November is probably you could hope to ask for, right?
We'll see how this injury report plays out. It's a little bit more banged up than I thought. No Eric Fisher, Braden Smith yesterday at practice. DeForest Buckner, nothing like being listed on the injury report due to an abdomen, throat, and back. Just sounds like a day where you just lay in bed all day, right?
That's what I'm going to do today. And it's,
because of the hamstring or just because it's Thursday?
It's a beautiful sunrise outside. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, I was supposed to nap all day, but this is nice. I didn't get to nap yesterday.
The blackout curtains, are you rocking those? Or
let me tell you something. I went to a photo mat when I did the morning show at IBC, and I would sleep in the day. I turned into a vampire, granted, but I wanted to, and I have complete blackout curtains. I mean, total dark.
You strike me as a mask wearer when you go to sleep.
100%. How'd you know? Have you been skulking around the house?
No, I've not, thankfully. But
I need to know your co-host. He's snooping around.
I am an eye shade wearer. That is correct. Sound machine, fan going. I'm a terrible sleeper, Kevin. A terrible, terrible sleeper.
For some reason, that does not surprise me. On the Buffalo injury front, Star Lotulelei,
Can you say that again, please?
I think I said that right. Star Lotulelei?
If that was my name, I would.
Scotty's not in his head, so I feel good.
Let me tell you something. I told Dr. Mottman, my cardiological interventionist, I told him, I said, if I had your business card, I'd be running around bars just telling people I'm a cardiological interventionist. If that was my name, I would have it like on the back of my shirt.
Plastered, right?
Everywhere.
He is on the COVID list, and he's their top defensive tackle, so that is a name to watch. Tremaine Edmonds, a high draft pick a few years ago, their top linebacker, did not practice yesterday, so that could be their kind of top run-stopping duo. Cole Beasley, really effective slot receiver, did not practice as well. Colts have the hardest remaining schedule in the AFC. Sounds like a chance for rain on Sunday. Temperatures won't be too much of an issue there. That rain could be later in the day, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Again, the Colts are a 7-point underdog. They are looking for their first win over a team with a better than 500 record. Them and the Texans, the only AFC teams currently without.
Every year, the Colts have 2 road games where you're like, whoa, okay, here they go. San Francisco was one of them.
Because of Jim Irsay's queen or because of just the win?
They knew that was coming. They're going to do an encore performance.
Ooh.
We Will Rock You goes into We Are the Champions.
A little bit of a tease there.
If people haven't figured that out, after 40 years, if people haven't figured out that anytime you hear We Will Rock You on the radio, We Are the Champions is coming right afterwards.
So we had this.
They're going to win in Buffalo.
Wow.
They're going to win in Buffalo.
Picks tomorrow at 9:40. We had this debate a few weeks ago. I brought up that my nephew was singing We Will Rock You. I was always under the impression that the We Will Rock You lyrics then go into We will rock you, pick you up and drop you, flush you down the toilet, hope you enjoy it.
What?
Have you never heard that?
Is this like a kid's song?
I don't know. Is it a kid's thing? Mark, have you ever heard that?
No.
Mark with no hesitation.
Is that just like a bad playground thing that, I don't know, some kid
I know this part.
that into my brain?
I know that Alice, where are you going? Oh my goodness, oh my soul. There goes Alice down the hole into the sewer. Do you know that song?
Oh, no.
The sewer runs just 3 blocks away from Jones Junior High.
Baby Jessica? What was that song?
That was right over my head.
Baby Jessica is an actual girl in Texas in the mid-'80s.
In the well,
fell
right?
into a well,
right.
Yes. The entire nation was captivated, as was I, watching it on CNN.
Gotcha. Okay.
Before they became, of course, just the far-left liberal biased newscast that they are.
Quickly moving on after that statement. 97-89. The Pistons over the Pacers. Pacers now 6-10. That is the definition of a bad, in all caps, loss last night. Pistons were the worst offensive team in the league. Pacers look like it last night. Turnovers galore, 18 of them, 24% from 3.
You know what it was?
That's bad,
Kevin?
man.
Pacers last night, not firing on all pistons. That was the problem. 26 points in the fourth quarter over the last 2 games. Not going to win you a lot of games.
I wish we could hit a break. But, hey, we got to give a shout-out to the Hoosiers. Mike Woodson last night after the 76-74 victory over St. John's.
It's a major plus because, again, this team hadn't been together that long. And for them to make plays down the stretch like they've made in this game as well as the Eastern Michigan game, man, it just tells me that they're committed and they want to win. So, I mean, it's nice to see. And, now we got to put this one behind us. We'll watch some film, break it down, and then we'll move on to our next opponent.
Laudable product Pat Robertson there with the post-game comments.
There will be future challenges, Jake, for this team away from Assembly Hall, but that was an important step last night against a team that both those teams look like NCAA tournament teams.
And the blueprint for what's going to win Indiana games. They played well defensively. They got good play out of Trace Jackson-Davis, and Tamar Bates showing that he is a guy that can score perhaps from the outside. Going to have to shoot better from three and on the free throw line, but good win for Indiana.
And I don't think anyone presses like St. John's can press, so I thought that was something that was a benefit to them as well, seeing that early in the season, getting exposed to that. Michigan State Butler, it was UGLY 73-52. Worst home loss in nearly 30 years for the Bulldogs there. Again, they were just outclassed. They've got the Maui Invitational next week. We'll see how Butler handles that.
But that's in Las Vegas, right?
Correct. That is in Las Vegas.
Is it sponsored by Maui Subs? Is that what it is?
I did not get, I believe it used to be the Sunglasses.
Oh, yeah.
Is who used to sponsor.
Did you ever have Varnays? That was a big deal in middle school.
Not a big sunglasses guy.
Everybody wore a Varney t-shirt and a swatch, but nobody actually had a pair of Varney sunglasses.
Purdue's 3-0. They got a big couple games coming up this weekend. Hall of Fame Classic, North Carolina Saturday, then either Villanova or Tennessee on Sunday. We'll give our college football picks tomorrow. IU, a touchdown underdog to Minnesota, 3:30 p.m. is that kick from Bloomington Senior Day. I'm sure that will be a packed house in Bloomington. Purdue Northwestern from Wrigley. I saw an overhead shot of the field yesterday. It looked pretty good.
So they're actually using the whole field. It's not like...
They are. I don't think foul poles will come into play.
No,
well, at least to start the game. They're planning to use two end zones.
No kicking extra points over Mac Ingles' bushes in the backyard, right?
Maybe the 2-point conversions, if they go into overtime, will just be like batting practice. They'll just George Karlaftis against whoever else. For
no
Northwestern
pepper allowed.
Purdue minus 11 there. Notre Dame a 17-point favorite over Georgia Tech. Again, we'll give those picks. We'll have Greg Rakestraw on as well tomorrow to talk IHSA semi-state. Next Friday, it'll be the odd state final games, Class 1A, 3A, 5A at Lucas Oil Stadium. And then on Saturday, it will be the even games. And all that leads into Colts and Buccaneers next Sunday from Lucas Oil.
Okay, so now, and I just got the new employee manual here that says now is where I solicit for phone calls for the pop quiz. Is that right? Am I doing this correctly?
Just under how to use a printer. Right?
I still don't know which. Somewhere in this building, somebody has all of my very pertinent paperwork. I can tell you that. Somebody on the third floor is wondering what's going on. 239-1070 is the telephone number for the pop quiz, which is now officially next.
This year, our average client received over $52,000 with an easy cash-out refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Come to Downtown Indy Inc.'s Circle of Lights, presented by IBEW Local 481, November 26 on Monument Circle. 1075thefan.com to learn more. Happy holidays.
Presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. The Goblet has dropped. Download it. Must be 21 and up.
Payless has great deals for the holidays. You need some wine for Thanksgiving? Pick up some Prisoner's Red Blend, only $44.99 a bottle. Oyster Bay and Kendall Jackson Vintners Reserve Chardonnay are only $9.99 a bottle, and Behringer White Zin's $2.99 a bottle. Mom Water is only $8.99 for the 4-pack, and that's keto-friendly. Plus, Crown ready-to-drink options are only $12.99 for the 4-pack. Be sure to follow Payless Liquors on social media for updates on great holiday events, or stop by one of their 26 locations online at PaylessLiquors.com. Don't pay more, get more, and pay less at Payless Liquors.
BetRivers Sportsbook wants you to be in control of your football bets. That's why players love the same-game parlays at BetRivers. Same-game parlays let you mix and match player props and game bets, and gives a payout boost to the winning combinations you want to root for. Combine 2 bets or combine many. You pick your confidence level, and then watch the game unfold. Bet on same-game parlays at BetRivers.com or download the BetRivers app. Must be 21 and located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Denny Smith here. Celebrate the most magical time of year at Sundown Gardens this Saturday and Sunday to sip, see, and shop. Their gift shop is full of winter decor, terrific gift ideas, plus the greenhouses are full of fresh-cut Christmas trees, wreaths, and roping. Light refreshments, 20% off all ornaments, and register for great prizes. Santa guest appearance from 1 to 3 on Saturday. South Central Newfoundland Rescue will have the big dogs here for photo ops on Sunday. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
This holiday at Metro by T-Mobile, the big 5G upgrade just got better because now Metro has the largest selection of free 5G phones in prepaid, like the Samsung Galaxy 5G. And Metro gives you one line of unlimited 5G data for just $25 a month, with 5G included at no extra cost. So you'll be able to stream, snap, upload, and share the holiday cheer all season. Ring in the holidays with the big 5G upgrade from Metro. Get unlimited 5G and a brand new 5G phone when you switch and trade in. More choices on free 5G phones, more savings, and more 5G coverage at no extra cost. All with the power of the T-Mobile 5G network. That's how you get more for the holidays. Only at Metro. After 24 months, $25 price may increase. Limited time in store only. No tethering. Unlimited on network only. Required port from eligible carrier if congested. Data users greater than 35 gigabytes per month notice lower speeds, and Metro customers notice lower speeds versus T-Mobile due to deprioritization. Video at 480p. See store for details.
For the first time in the history of Hard Knocks, HBO and NFL Films are teaming up for an in-season edition of the Emmy-winning sports reality franchise. Hard Knocks in season, the Indianapolis Colts follows the Colts as they navigate the challenges of an NFL season and battle for a spot in the playoffs. This is behind-the-scenes footage of your favorite team like you've never seen before. The docuseries is now streaming on HBO Max with new episodes Wednesdays at 10 p.m.
School is in session.
There's Butler nice enough to join us. What's one thing the Colts aren't doing that could really help them if they did?
I mean, they just need more of a killer instinct, I would say, in that second half. They just got to continue to execute. There's not one thing you can point at. Carson's playing well. The defense is playing well. Jonathan Taylor is playing out of his mind. As long as we keep the offensive line healthy, I think we'll continue to get better.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
Now, a couple of these answers, Kevin. There's Jim Irsay singing Patience. You know what? Okay, first off, let me say a couple of these questions.
Well, first off, let's tease the quiz real fast. 317-239-1070.
Okay.
Call in right now for the pop quiz. Go ahead.
Are we still soliciting for callers?
We are.
Okay.
Always are.
A couple of these answers have been given away over the course of the discussion of today's show, if you were listening. And trust me, if you've been listening since 7, we certainly thank you. Patience as a Guns N' Roses diehard, Kevin. I don't know if you know this or not, but I am a diehard Guns N' Roses fan.
I've heard you and J&B talk about it.
I've seen them in Toronto, Denver, Cincinnati, Chicago, Indianapolis, Louisville. Patience, one of my least favorite of their quote-unquote hit song. It's okay, but that is to me their Stairway to Heaven. Like, you know what I mean? Like just their, okay.
So when people were telling me about you in this process, they said if Jake becomes your co-host, if you don't practice patience, you won't survive. That's when you say patience, that's what I think.
They did not mean practice whistling the song, right?
I don't believe that was part of it. The other, little kid rhyme, I mentioned Queen earlier. Did you ever do the patience is a virtue, virtue is a grace, grace is a girl with a dirty face?
No.
What were you learning in school?
I guess the Cherry Tree Elementary playgrounds were different than where'd you go?
Allisonville Elementary School.
Right.
I was the 1984 spelling bee runner-up, thank you.
Oh, gosh.
As well as a not one but two-time blue ribbon.
This is why you need to have a LinkedIn. If you had a LinkedIn, these things could be readily available right there. This pop quiz looks more difficult to me than yesterday. Jake, can we have a number 1 through 8?
I'm going to go with the number 3 for Jay Edwards.
3 for Jay Edwards. That's Jake's favorite number. Mark Dykton?
Ross.
It's my brother-in-law. Is it my brother-in-law, Ross?
It's not your brother-in-law.
Oh, Ross, still great to hear from you. Awesome name, and just for having that name, I think you're going to get a hint or two from myself.
Oh, sounds good.
Jake, you want to start with number 1?
Question number 1 for you, Ross. Thursday Night Football. It's going to be the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons, which is, of course, a rematch of Super Bowl 51, where the Falcons famously or infamously gave up a huge lead. How big a lead did they have in that game?
Man, was it 21 points?
That's a tough first question, Scotty.
I don't think. See, I'm with Scotty on this. I don't think it is because you see the meme everywhere of the scoreboard.
How much is a quarter worth?
25. It was 25 points, right?
5 points. By the way, shout out to my brother-in-law Ross. He drove our daughter to school today. I think the first time ever changing a diaper for him. Like I said, my wife's out of town. That's a big step, isn't it, Mark?
Wow.
So, Ross Lubbers, you deserve a lot of beer for that one.
Was Ross in a fraternity in college?
No, this Ross is not.
No, I'm saying your brother-in-law Ross.
He was.
Yeah, then he's changed the diaper before.
Maybe a female diaper? Is that probably the better
just
term?
like a fraternity brother. I mean, little Jaeger.
Number 2, the one NBA
sometime.
team currently owns a winning streak of 10 or more games, and one NBA team currently has a losing streak of 10 or more games. Name one of these teams. Jake actually referenced one of these teams earlier. You got a hot team in a hot part of the country and a cold team that's also in a hot part of the country.
One of these teams, ironically, completely has failed to launch so far this year because they're on a 13-game losing streak.
Yeah, the Rockets, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we have spoon-fed Ross a whole lot here early on.
Number 3, Ross. Robbie Ray is the American League Cy Young Award winner for 2021. For which team did Ray pitch this past season? A, the Rangers of Texas. B, the Rays of Tampa Bay, which, would be perfectly fitting because his name is Robbie Ray. C, the Toronto Blue Jays, or D, the Kansas City Royals?
Man, I haven't watched a baseball game since Willie Mo Pena was batting DH for the Cubs.
Willie Mo Pena, what a name. That dude hit balls into stratospheres.
Was the Rays an option?
The Rays are an option.
Let's go with the Rays.
Okay.
All right, number 4, Corbin Burns of the Milwaukee Brewers is the National League Cy Young Award winner for 2021. Who was the last Brewer to win a Cy Young Award? A, Raleigh Fingers. P, Pete Vukovich. Isn't there a Vukovich, a UCLA guy?
Which one?
From East Chicago. Some of the
Turkovich.
Turkovich.
Pete Turkovich is who you're thinking.
You know when you're getting blank stares from Scotty that you're probably off base.
Yeah.
Pete Turkovich is who you're thinking.
Yeah,
of.
something Fitch. C, Teddy Higuera, or D, Burns is the first Brewer to win the award.
Oh, man. I'll go with A. Yeah, I'll go with A.
Raleigh Fingers?
Yeah, yep. Okay.
And since the advent of the Cy Young Award in 1956, 10 pitchers have been named their league's most valuable player, the last being Clayton Kershaw in 2014. Before 1956, a pitcher was named MVP 14 times, with 3 Hall of Famers winning 2 MVP awards in their careers. This is very convoluted, I realize. Which of the following did not win multiple MVP awards in his career? A, Dizzy Dean. And this question might make you dizzy, so bear with me. B, Hal Newhouser. C, Walter Johnson. Or D, Carl Hubble Telescope.
I think B sounded like the best sounding name, so we'll go with that.
I didn't want you to get too dizzy with this if you overthink it.
Yeah, that hint's not helping me much here.
Okay. All right, so B it is, Ross.
Yeah, listening.
Right. That was a stinky diaper performance by Dean.
Oh boy, a blowout, I believe, is what we would call that one there. Okay, a Falcons-Patriots score. You guys aren't correct. This is a very, I think, notable meme, but still, I don't know. I think it was a difficult first question, in my opinion. Jake, we coaxed him into quarter. What was the score of that game?
28-3, which is, of course, and again, I mean, I math, not a strong query strong suit, but 25 points.
Loud and proud.
Yes. Thank you, Coach Irsay. Hopefully we'll hear from him again.
One NBA team currently with a 10-game win streak and a 10 or more losing streak. The Phoenix Suns have won 10 straight, and he was correct. Ross was correct. The Houston Rockets have lost.
Not to get too trippy.
Are the Suns here to stay? Like, are they legit. I mean, last year.
Hey, they've got some off-court stuff going on within the organization.
They do.
But the team has, they're pretty good. They play well together.
I love that starting lineup. Robbie Ray, American League Cy Young Award winner. I had no idea who Robbie Ray was before today, to be honest with you. For which team did Ray pitch for this past season? Ross said the Rays, right sounding nickname.
In both his last name and because it rhymes with the actual correct answer, which is the Toronto Blue Jays. The correct answer.
You blew it!
Scotty, by the way, and a strange,
get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get
sinister grin of victory.
Home game. You're a complete loser.
You lose! Good day, sir!
Tony, get your bag and get the hell out of here.
Well, I say we end with this, and you guys can follow me. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Hold on.
Okay. Hold on.
We will rock you. We will rock you.
Pete Vukovich was the last Brewer, by the way, to win the Cy Young, and Dizzy Dean was the correct answer on number 5. Dizzy Dean was the correct answer.
Boy, Scotty's grin looked like, I think, some of the grins in the background of that video. Colts players like, should we smile? What should we do here?
Incredulously trying to figure out what exactly they were both witnessing and how they were supposed to process it.
Something they will tell their grandkids about one day.
That was, we're going to come back. I'm not going to lie to you, to put a bow tie on it, and we're basically going to play Jim Irsay singing for like 10 straight minutes. That's the way we're going to flush this one out, to use the wording from the lyrics of some Kevin Bowen nursery rhyme that they used to sing at, what was it? Cherry Hills?
Cherry Tree Elementary School, the Patriots.
Actually, we're going to come back and talk about something you can do to move your feet, help others eat for Thanksgiving. That's all coming up next.
This ad for Hellsberg Diamonds has been specifically written for those who'd rather think about football than engagement rings. When free agency starts, your team wants to get the best players they can without spending too much. If your team is you and the players are engagement rings, then your best bet in free agency is shopping at Hellsberg Diamonds, where you know you'll get the highest quality diamonds at prices that keep you from going over the salary cap. Visit your local Hellsberg store and ask about our price match guarantee, or check us out at hellsberg.com.
Now, you don't get to play as much as the offense and defense, but it must be cool to be called special teams. It just sounds good. What team are you on? The special team. That's tight, right? Oh, if you're a fan of special teams, you can just bet on those. My sportsbook app has prop bets, so have at it, people. It's a special app, people!
Must be 21. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Terry Stacy for your American Standard Heating Game Day Weather Forecast, brought to you by Reinhardt Heating and Cooling in Danville. High school football semi-state games this weekend, 1 win away from state. Mid-30s and clear across Indiana. And good luck to our local teams: Lutheran, Cecina, Brebeuf, Tri-West, Mount Vernon, Cathedral, Zionsville, Ben Davis, Center Grove, and Westfield. Purdue looks to get back on the winning track when they play Northwestern at the home of the Cubs, Wrigley Field, this Saturday, mid-40s and partly sunny. Number 8 Notre Dame hosts Georgia Tech Saturday afternoon, mid-40s and partly sunny. Indiana hosts Minnesota Saturday afternoon. Look for cloudy skies and low 50s in Bloomington. Our boys in blue travel to Buffalo Sunday for a rematch of last year's playoffs. No snow like a few years ago, but rain is in the forecast and temps in the middle 40s. This has been your American Standard Heating Game Day Weather Forecast, brought to you by Reinhardt Heating and Cooling in Danville, your trusted local American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Here's what's happening with the Fan.
It's another Bud Light Blue Friday this week. Drink ice-cold Bud Light and sign up for your chance to win Colts tickets as JMV broadcasts live. Visit 1075thefan.com to see where we'll be next. Bud Light, brewed for the Colts and their fans. Live from Pearl Street Pizzeria this Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m. Join JMV as he broadcasts for Larceny Locks and Lunazool Shots. Come listen to the Larceny Lock and enjoy some Lunazool Shots.
For more info, click on 1075thefan.com.
Dan Dockich here for PXG Clubs with PXG Clubs. Performance is in the bag. I just got custom fitted for my new set of PXG Clubs over at the Golf Club of Indiana. At Golf Club of Indiana, they have indoor and outdoor fitting bays with TrackMan technology to get your new PXG Clubs fully optimized for distance, accuracy, and feel. Get ready to increase your performance like me and enjoy the game with PXG Clubs. Schedule your custom fitting experience at pxg.com or 844-PLAY-PXG.
Hey, this is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. And yes, it's true, I've used More Restoration on my home 3 times for fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become part of First On Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On Site. When you need help, call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On Site company.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. This year, our average client saved over $350 a month with an easy rate reduction refinance. What would you do with an extra $350 a month? Buy a new car? Pay down the credit cards? Or possibly take the family on that much-needed vacation? We are locking loans in the 2s. How much could you save? Let's find out today. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
It's championship weekend at Marian University. The Knights take on Southwestern College in the first round of NAIA football playoffs at 1:05 p.m. Then stick around for a women's volleyball playoff at 6. It's all happening this Saturday only at Marian University. Go Knights!
Christmas Nights of Lights at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Drive over 2 miles watching millions of lights dance to the music playing through your car radio. New this year are reservations only. Timed entry. Tickets must be purchased online ahead of time. Open nightly including all holidays now through January 2nd. ChristmasNightsOfLights.com.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan.
But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more. The beat of man walk.
Now, I'd love to hear Jim Irsay sing this song.
That's right.
Right? Next Wednesday, I believe, Jake, you will be busy in the morning, correct?
Thursday.
Or, excuse me, next Thursday. I don't know why I thought Thanksgiving
morning
was on a Wednesday.
It's one of the great traditions, and look, I've been a part of this when it's been freezing out. I've been part of it when it's been fantastic out. The weather has gone across the board, but no matter the weather, always a sunny disposition with our next guest. He was formerly the Chief Development Officer, I believe I'm saying that correctly, for Wheeler Mission Ministries of Indiana, and now oversees something that he began many moons ago, the Drumstick Dash. I'm talking about not the Golden State Warriors coach, but equally as acclaimed Steve Kerr. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Sure. So good to hear you back on the air.
Well, it's good to be back. Having health insurance is huge, so I'm thankful for that. But listen, there are, Steve, I think that there are a lot of people this time of year that stop to give thanks about a number of things. And then I think it's important to also recognize and remember that there are those that are still kind of searching for those areas of which they can be thankful because they've been less fortunate or life has thrown them a curveball. And that's what this is all about. But if we could real quick, tell me how the Drumstick Dash came about and what number year we're in now.
Yeah, 20 years ago, I was in Cincinnati with my family, and we were looking for a race to run, and we found a little thing up north by Dayton, Ohio, in Miamisburg, a little turkey trot. And I went up there. They had about 4,500 people. I thought, this is insane. Why are these people out on Thanksgiving morning? I thought, came back, talked to my boss, and said, let's have a race on Thanksgiving morning. And he looked at me like I had lobsters growing out of my ears. But he said, why not? Let's try it. And, man, this is our 19th year. And we are now ranked by Running USA as the 50th largest running event in the country.
Wow. Steve, Kevin Bowen here, and I think it's just awesome what you continue to do year in, year out. My brother and I volunteered over at the shelter, or over at the Delaware shelter a couple of years ago, so love the cause.
Cool.
If we are not able to make the dash, the Bowen family, we will be out of town, unfortunately. How can we still help?
You can still sign up to run virtually if you'd like. We have it's called Out of Town Dash Around. We will mail you your race packet and shirts, and you can run anywhere you want to be. That's what happened last year. We went 100% virtual, and we had 10,000 people around town and around the country running virtually. So, Kevin, you can still go to drumstick-org and participate virtually.
Drumstick-org, right, is the website.
Yep. Yep.
Obviously, Wheeler Mission's website where you can make donations as well. But, Steve, I wanted to ask this. You touched on it a little bit there. People are obviously jonesing to get back out. People are eager to get back out and return to a normalcy, if you will. For the Drumstick Dash, I know it was a very difficult decision a year ago. What went into the decision to go ahead and carry this forward for this year and fire it back up, and how many are we anticipating?
Well, I think right now we're at about 12,000, which is down. That's closer to 2010 numbers, but we're pretty happy with 10. I think we'll probably hit close to 13, maybe 14, and I think that's a big win for us. Most races are down. We decided this year that I think Indianapolis and the community is ready for outdoor events. We've seen a number of outdoor events. The Monumental was just a couple of weeks ago, very successful event. We've taken some precautions, hand washing stations, hand sanitizers around, volunteers will be in masks. So I think we are ready to go live.
Steve, how obviously the last 2 years have been beyond less than ideal. How has COVID impacted you guys in the various shelters?
The biggest thing, Kevin, is we were unable to socially distance. That was nearly impossible. If you've been inside our facilities, you know what it looks like.
Right.
And it was interesting. The city of Indianapolis, God love them, came to our rescue and opened up hotels where we could use as overflow facilities for homeless men, women, and children. The city provided us hand washing stations, and the community as a whole. I mean, I can't tell you how many hundreds and hundreds of gallons of hand sanitizer were donated, how many thousands of masks were donated, et cetera. It was literally, it was an amazing year for us to see the outpouring of love and commitment from this community.
And Steve, the new women and children's shelter that opened up, and there was a big celebration about that within the last several months. I was there when the shovels first went in the ground, and it was just a vision. And man, what a vision it turned out to be.
Oh, I know. With the help of Allison Melanchthon over at the Speedway, to help make this thing a reality, we're able to nearly triple our capacity to serve women and children who are experiencing homelessness. And what a blessing that building is and will be to our community.
Steve, drumstick-org is the website. It's one of my favorite events. I am always so flattered and honored that you reach out to me each year about it. And you're one of my favorites, so anything we can do to help out, I'm happy to do so, and we appreciate the time.
Thanks, Jake. We'll see you and Shannon both next week, all right?
Yep, I will be there. We'll be there with the running shoes on, and I'll try to make it past the Broadable Tan before I finally have to pull over and catch my breath. Typically, that's the case, Kevin.
Good luck with that.
Appreciate it.
Happy Thanksgiving, Steve.
Thanks.
Steve Kerr, again, formerly Wheeler Mission, retired now as the Chief Development Director, but still in charge of the Drumstick Dash, and it is very cool. So you're going to be where, Kevin, for Thanksgiving?
We go up with my in-laws to northern Indiana. They have a lake house up there, Leesburg, Indiana.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that at all, your geographic memory.
That's in what county?
That is in Warsaw-ish. Warsaw is not the county, it's Casiago County.
Casiago?
Kosciuszko.
Scott Johnston just stuck around after the pop quiz for the geographical correction.
Yeah, just north of Warsaw, maybe,
That's
I don't know, 10, 15 minutes.
Can we close out with Jim Irsay?
Oh, sure.
Can we? Are you kidding me?
90% of the show has been this.
Right. We should be paying HBO for this clip.
After this, hopefully they'll still let us back at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. And when that happens, we look forward to talking to all of you to round out the week. Have a great day, everybody.
Well, I say we end with this so you guys can follow me. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Hold on.